WTEN Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station. Official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5, The Fanatic. It's time now for Cuz Radio.
What up, Cuz?
Deshaun Jackson gets a block. Are you kidding?
Talking with the Cuz.
Yo, Cuz, how you doing?
Stairs rips one into the night.
Stolen by the doctor. Yes, he's got it. Here he comes. Way rock the baby to sleep and slam dunk.
Look, Cuz, don't even try it, okay?
Now here's Anthony Gargano.
Why don't you get the hell out of here, Cuz?
And a good Tuesday morning, Philadelphia. I'm Andrew Salchunas in for Anthony today. 97.5 The Fanatic. And we got another day removed from the Eagles win. Okay? Let me say that again. We're another day removed from the Eagles win over the New England Patriots in Foxborough on Sunday. It was a strange day yesterday, and I don't blame anybody, but it was a strange day. We're, Anthony and I doing the show, and there was a lot of somber people almost. And we're doing the show, and I'm waiting for that moment where somebody finally calls in excited. It didn't happen till the 12 o'clock hour. So we're 2 hours done, and we finally got somebody that called in and was like, listen, it's tough to win in the NFL. Well, you're on the road. It was Belichick, EAGLES. It took until 2+ hours, Connor Thomas, in my chair today. It was 2.5 hours into the show. We got our first Eagles chant. And look, it was not a pretty game. It was not. You did post game. I'm looking forward to get your thoughts on it. But that was a game where the whole time you're sitting there going, that doesn't look pretty. That doesn't look great. That doesn't look good. That could be better. But I'll be honest, there was never a moment in the entire game where I thought, oh no, they're going to lose. And this is kind of like the team last year. Last year, there was the game against the Texans. There was the game against the Colts. There was the game against the Bears. It wasn't pretty for 3 quarters, 3.5 quarters. The entire game was ugly, let's be honest. But they end up pulling out the win because the better team ended up winning. And for the most part this year, the Eagles will be the better team in a lot of matchups. There's going to be some tightly contested matchups with better teams. Whether they're better than the Eagles or they're on par, you're going to be taking on the Bills at some point this year, the Chiefs at some point this year, the 49ers at some point this year. But let's face it, for the most part, the Eagles are going to be the better team in the matchup. And even if it's not pretty, they're probably going to pull out the win. And at this point, we're all on the same page here. It's about the Super Bowl. It's about the playoffs. But you got to get there first. And you got to get there healthy, and you got to get there where everybody seems to be clicking on the same page, where it didn't look like that was necessarily the case on Sunday. But it's week 1, and it was a win, which I know a lot of people almost seem to forget because it was such a somber day yesterday. Jalen Hurts did not look good. I did not like the game plan from Brian Johnson on Sunday. I did not like how some things looked with Jordan Mailata on the left side, especially going back and revisiting the game. There are things on defense that I didn't like. I've been talking about it for months now, that I'm concerned about the linebackers and the safeties, right? I was the weird guy that would come up and say, hey, I'm very excited for the season too, but there are some areas that we need to actually talk about that might not be great. The Eagles and their offense, the idea of their offense overshadows any concerns for a lot of people, and myself included. I still think that the strengths completely outweigh the weaknesses for this Eagles team, that if there is a weakness on the field, which there are, the Eagles' offense will overcome it. The secondary, at least the corners will overcome that. Darius Slay with the big pick 6. James Bradbury, who it's going to suck if he's going to be out on Thursday in concussion protocol. But for the most part, you look at this team and you go, all right, the strengths outweigh the weaknesses. And if there's going to be another ugly game, the Eagles will ultimately be the better team, and they'll probably end up winning. But now that we're another day removed, I want to see how you're feeling today. Because last night, I think, should help a lot of people. What didn't help Monday morning was that the last football game you watched was a 40-0 beatdown. And it didn't help that it was the Dallas Cowboys. A team that a lot of people just kind of laugh off. I've been trying to tell you, they're going to be in it till the very end. This is going to be a Week 17, Week 18. Finally, we find out who wins the division. I think the Eagles only win 12 games this year. I don't think they go 14-3. 12-5 is still a good record. The Cowboys have won 12 games in recent years. They'll probably still be in it. So I think the worst thing for Monday, for the fans waking up Monday morning, was that the Eagles didn't necessarily play well, even though they won, but the Cowboys completely beat up the Giants, a team that was in the playoffs last year, even though I think they're fraudulent, and I still can't believe they paid Daniel Jones. I think last night helps. The Buffalo Bills, who are a team that a lot of people are picking to come out of the AFC and have been for the last couple of years. Maybe this is the year they finally do it. They lost yesterday to the New York Jets. And I know the New York Jets are a team that a lot of people think could win that division this year. I'm going to rip up my ticket now because I had the Jets winning the AFC East. But Aaron Rodgers goes down in his very first series, which we'll talk about at some point in the show because that sucks for football. But we're talking about the Buffalo Bills losing after having a lead to Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson, who still didn't really do anything yesterday. He didn't look all that great. I know he threw a touchdown. He threw a pick. Threw for about 140 yards, something like that. Breece Hall was just incredible for the Jets running the football. But the Buffalo Bills, a team that a lot of people think could be in the Super Bowl, just like a lot of us think the Eagles could be back in the Super Bowl this year, the Bills lost to a team that they should not have lost to the second Aaron Rodgers goes down. And they do. So for all of us who are concerned about the Eagles and their game against the Patriots, a win is a win. I know nobody wants to hear that. I know it's cliche. I know it's very Andy Reid-esque saying, don't worry about it, enjoy the win, man. But that's kind of where I'm at today. And that's where I was at yesterday. The NFL, it's a tough league to win in, especially on the road, and Bill Belichick is still a top coach and will be considered one of the greatest coaches of all time. And he had an entire offseason to game plan for week one. And he did a good job doing it. Now we'll see come Thursday. Then the following Monday, let's give it a couple weeks to see how this Eagles team adapts to the new coordinators. Let's see how this Eagles team adapts to some new looks on defense because there's new players and you're now going to have injuries. All of a sudden, you're banged up. Nakobe Dean's going to be out for a month. James Bradbury likely won't play this weekend, this Thursday. And that stinks. But I just want to hear from you today at 610-632-0975. How are we feeling? Because I know our expectations are so high with this team. It's Super Bowl or bust, right? For pretty much all of us. I know the Niners look good and the Cowboys look good, but for the most part, it's Super Bowl or bust. They were just in it last year, and this isn't an aging team. I know there's aging players, but your core is very young. I don't want to overreact just yet. I know it's hard not to. When you have such high expectations, you're going to overreact at times. But we can't speak and make sweeping judgments. I heard callers, we saw tweets, we saw texts that Brian Johnson's not a good offensive coordinator. During the pregame show on Sunday, I looked to my left and I said to Bob Cooney, I don't know who Brian Johnson is. He might stink. We'll find out today. Well, not today. We'll find out this season. A lot of people already have him as a bad offensive coordinator, and they're in trouble. A lot of people have Sean Desai as a bad defensive coordinator, and we're in trouble. They only scored 20 points. Like, the defense actually played well. And I don't know where people thought Desai was going to have a different look. It's the same tree. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are disappointed still that they didn't see much more pressure or anything like that. That's just how the defense is going to be. It's an organizational philosophy. It's a Howie Roseman philosophy. Give these guys some time to figure out how to call the right plays in the right spots. And Brian Johnson, who did not have a good game as an offensive coordinator. Jalen Hurts, who did not have a good game as a quarterback. It's not over, right? It's like baseball. Just because you have a bad series, and I'm not talking about what's going on right now, just because you have a bad series in June, which we saw that happen before they went on the run, that doesn't mean the season's over. The Eagles didn't look great in week one. That doesn't mean that's how they're going to look as the season progresses. I expect them to only get better. And I want to hear from you. Are you feeling any better today? Are you still feeling down? By the way, Thursday's just 2 days away. So it's not like we have to wait long to see if our concerns are real or if our confidence is real. We're just 2 days away from week 2. Eagles-Vikings in South Philly. 610-632-0975. Connor Thomas, host of our postgame show. You do a tremendous job with Tom Alvord. I used to love doing the post-game show, my man, the bro, with Jamie. I'm excited to be doing pregame this year, a little bit of a different look. How was it immediately after the game talking to people?
Yeah, it was critical, but we didn't have, and credit to the callers that we had on the postgame show, we didn't have any of those real sweeping type of resolutions that you were talking about. This guy stinks, that guy stinks, the team's in trouble. I think in the moment after it, it's easy to be critical, but it's also, a breath of relief, right?
You got the win.
Like getting out of that. I know you said you didn't think they were losing at any point.
Nope.
There was a point in that last drive when the Patriots got their last first down of the game and got inside the 30-yard line. I was like, oh, my God, are they going to lose this game? Like, I said it out loud to Tom when we were watching in the studio there.
Yeah.
So I think we're kind of at that point where, okay, thank goodness they escaped. And that was what postgame was. And then yesterday, listening to callers on the air, it was a lot more critical.
I think the Cowboys thing really messed with a lot of people. I think the Cowboys putting up 40 points and that defense looking dominant. Not that really the offense did all that much, but you know that they have weapons on that team. CeeDee Lamb's a beast. Tony Pollard's a good back. Dak Prescott can have great games where he throws 4 touchdowns, 0 picks. He can also have bad games where he throws 0 touchdowns and 4 picks. But I think the defense, being as dominant as it was, scared a lot of people. But I hope that last night helped. Because if you look around the NFL, the Cowboys had a good game, the 49ers had a good game, and that's probably the bit. That's probably it. And then the Jags. Yeah. The Jags had a good game, but the Colts still played pretty well. For the most part, around the league, it was sloppy because nobody plays in the preseason anymore. It's going to be sloppy. It's going to be sloppy for probably a couple more weeks. The Vikings, you want to talk about bad week ones? The Vikings lost to the Bucs. The Bucs are going to be one of the worst teams at football this year.
Yeah.
The Bengals, who just paid Joe Burrow all that money, they scored 3 points. So, no, did I love what I saw every single second of every single snap during the game on Sunday? No, of course not. But I'm not ready to go too crazy and say that they're in a boatload of trouble. Thursday night, I can't wait for it because I'm ready for them to beat down the Vikings. 610-632-0975. We have Jeff McLean coming up at 12:20. We'll talk to him from the Inquirer, and I'm really excited for this. At 11:20, Don Argot is going to be joining the show. He's a filmmaker, and he's one of the big parts of the Kelsey documentary that's going to be coming out this week. And I heard from – I actually spoke with somebody. I was at Rally House on Saturday with Ray Dunn. Me and Ray were doing the show. I saw somebody who just so happened to be at the premiere. She won something. She said it was amazing seeing that first episode. So I can't wait to talk to Don more about it because Jason Kelsey is a treasure. And if you've watched any of the trailers, it feels like this could be it. 610-632-0975, the number to climb in. I'm Andrew Sal. Tunis right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
A doubleheader split. I'm Connor Thomas. This update is brought to you by Bradford White Water Heaters. You may not always need a new water heater, but when you do, choose Bradford White. The
197.5, The Fanatic. I'm Andrew Salchunas. 10 o'clock hour brought to you by Window Nation. Take advantage of Window Nation's 50% off all sale and all style windows. Plus, make no down payment with no payments and no interest for 12 full months. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. We have a couple open lines. You can climb in at 610-632-0975 as we continue to react to the Eagles-Patriots game, but not really like play-by-play or what happened here, what happened there. I just want to ask, I want you to tell me, are you feeling better today? Or are you feeling worse? Like you've had an extra day's sleep on it. And as I said in the opening of the show, I don't think it helped that the Cowboys beat up the Giants as the first game after the Eagles-Patriots game. And then that's what you went to bed thinking about. And then you woke up the next morning. Oh, man, what went wrong here? What went wrong there? And look how good the Cowboys looked. And oh, my God, the Niners looked really good, too. That's the other team that we're going to be fighting for in the NFC to get to the Super Bowl. Relax for a second. Last night should also be something that helped you. The Bills did not look good to the point where they lost to Zach Wilson. Aaron Rodgers goes out early, first drive early, and Zach Wilson gets hurt, comes in and wins the game in overtime. So I hope that helps you out a little bit. I also think the Thursday night game is good medicine for us because it's a quick turnaround. Like if this was the week where they're playing Monday, right? So they'll be in Tampa. Monday, week 3. If this was the Monday night week, I think it would be worse for people. Because not only do we have to wait till Sunday, we have to wait the extra day. We're going to watch other teams. Maybe the Cowboys play well again. Maybe the 49ers play well again. And you're sitting there going, oh, my God, I have to wait all the way till Monday. I think it might be best. It's like the baseball player that has a bad night and there's an afternoon game the other day. You just put them in the lineup because they didn't have much time to think about it. Just let them go right back out there.
Right.
So I think this might actually be the best thing, and you're going up against a defense that you should score 30 points against. If you don't, we have problems. If you don't, maybe I will start to get more concerned about Brian Johnson. Maybe I will get concerned more about Jordan Mailata if he's letting pressure almost every single play. Mailata did not look good, by the way.
No, he didn't. And Lane didn't look his best either.
No.
That's concerning.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's going up against Judon, who's just a stud, and the Patriots showed a lot of different looks toward the Eagles. I mean, they were in the backfield almost every drop back, and it seemed like Hurts either had no time or he wasn't processing it well. Maybe he wasn't reading things well, and this is why I always say you probably should play in the preseason. I know that that's like an archaic argument at this point, but I do think it's okay to get a couple snaps in. We had a guy call in yesterday that was like, look, they're not running at the same speed. No, but it's still like 90%, 95%. Because there are guys that are still fighting for the job. That's the other thing. The preseason, the idea of nobody plays, well, yeah, like the stars don't play, but the guy that's trying to get a roster spot, he's going to go all out.
Right.
So if Jalen Hurts, let's say, cruises to the sideline, but there's a linebacker who might be the 53rd man on the roster, he might try to get that pop in. And so you can't really just play at 90%. You have to go a little bit. So I do think a series or two. I'm not saying play a full game. I'm not saying like the old days where you played a half in preseason week number 3. I'm saying a series or two just to get communication down. You do have a new starting right guard who looked good. Like Cam Jurgens looked good. But there's communication on the front that they didn't get to do during the preseason game. Yeah, they had joint practices, but that's a controlled environment. You're still not touching the quarterback.
No, but you need those reps. You're right. It's like the difference between batting practice and live at bats. It might not be like full game situation, but it's also not the football equivalent of fastballs down the middle. Like that that gets you stretched out a little bit, but it doesn't really get you as game ready as you might need to be. And Sirianni already said he's going to reevaluate. Like that was immediately on his mind after that.
Yeah, that
game.
tells you something.
It does. And that kind of covers up for the whole thing that people were worried about with the Hurts and Sirianni saying that Brian Johnson did a great job and they loved the effort. Well, he's reevaluating the preseason strategy for a reason.
Yeah.
Like, it's because they know that they need to be better against Minnesota. But I do think that Minnesota coming in here is a good thing. If it was another, like, tough defense or tough team, it might be another week of, oh, they don't look great, but it was another good team.
Especially on a Thursday night.
Right. This is we know for sure if they don't play well offensively against this Vikings team, they got kind of carved up.
I'll start being concerned about Brian Johnson and Jalen Hurts and the offensive line. But I can't do that after week 1 against Belichick and a stacked defense.
No.
610-632-0975. I'll get to the phones in a second. But the news yesterday, Jacoby Dean out for about a month. You and I talked about this a little bit before the show. I'm glad that you were on the same page as me. Like, the linebackers were a concern. Like, it wasn't something where, Nakobe Dean season. SZN. No, it's Nakobe Dean was drafted in the 3rd round. I don't know how he fell that far. Did not play much last year. And it's not because he stinks. It's because TJ Edwards was a very good middle linebacker for the Eagles last year. Signal caller. He was a leader. He was a veteran in terms of being on the Eagles. And Nakobe Dean, that's big shoes to fill. It's not Ray Lewis, right? It's not Brian Urlacher. But it's a guy that was a cog in the middle of your defense last year. And he's now out already. So I already had Dean concerns, right? And now he's out. Who knows what the hell they're going to do? Sirianni won't say anything. A competitive advantage, right? He's not going to tell you who's going to play, but it's somebody off the practice squad or it's somebody that was not a starter already on a pretty weak linebacker group.
Yeah, and even if you bring a guy in, like they brought in Rashaan Evans, who's a former first-round pick.
Rounder.
And even if he comes in, you get him on the practice squad and everything, they sign him, cool, you want to elevate him, you've got, 3 days to tell him what he needs to know ahead of Thursday? They're not going through stuff on game day. You have a very minimal time to get anybody from the practice squad ready to be a starter on this team for Thursday night. And I'll tell you what, Minnesota's defense might be rough, but Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson, they're a bit of a problem.
Yeah, and look, with Bradbury potentially being out, that's going to suck. Because last year, you actually did a good job against Jefferson. They played it was almost like a box-in-one in basketball where they had somebody shadow, whether it was Slay or Bradbury was on man coverage with Jefferson, but then they also had a zone where the safety was shadowing over wherever Justin Jefferson was. I'm sure you do the same thing. But last year, Adam Thielen was the guy that actually caught passes, and he couldn't really do anything. So Addison might actually be able to hurt you a little bit. So we'll see. I mean, it's going to be an interesting task for the defense. Interesting test for the defense. Kirk Cousins is still Kirk Cousins. He's a guy that could throw for 300 yards.
Not in primetime, he can't.
Not in primetime. It's a good point. But we'll see. I mean, the Eagles' offense, I feel good about. And I want to read a tweet from L. He said, I was worried, but seeing everyone had a hard time this week helped. Honestly, not upset about the Cowboys. That is what it is. They spanked them. But I overreacted, and I'm better now. Had too high expectations. You can have high expectations. I'm not saying not to have high expectations. And I'm not saying to get upset when you see things that you don't like. What I don't like is the people that say Brian Johnson is now a bad coordinator. From, they'll be fine. Brian Johnson's been here. They're going to be fine. To now he stinks. How about you just kind of, I don't want to be like the guy that you should listen to. All right, I'm not that guy. To say, just trust me. Listen to me when I say it.
I listen to you occasionally.
But listen to me when I say it. I don't know who Brian Johnson is as a game day signal caller, right? I know that he's tight with Jalen Hurts. I know that he used to play quarterback. I know that he knows his offense because he was here last year. He worked with Shane Steichen. I know all those things. But I don't know what Brian Johnson's mind tells him 2nd and 7 on your own 25. I don't know what his mind tells him, but it's going to take more than 1 week to figure out whether he knows what he's doing or not. So let's just take a deep breath. The Rodgers relax, whatever. There are things that I didn't like. There are things I did like. And I hope Thursday we feel a little bit better. 610-632-0975. Let's go to Luke in Philly. Luke, you're on the Fanatic.
Hello.
Yo, Luke, what's up?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to talk about the Eagles. I mean, regardless of win's a win, you're in Foxborough. It wasn't pretty, but the end result, they stopped them. They win the game.
Yeah, I mean, they still beat Bill Belichick. I don't want to ignore that. They beat Bill Belichick. Tom Brady or not, they beat Bill Belichick. That's a big deal.
Exactly, and you can't. The same thing with the Jets. They lose to Zach Wilson, but the Jets' defense, first and foremost, is ridiculous.
It's a good defense.
So was the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, Garrett Wilson, that was a crazy.
Hell of a catch, man.
Yeah, that was unreal, but they pulled it off. So, I mean, regardless, good teams find a way to win.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Luke, and thanks for the call, man. I'm using the Bills as an example as it could be worse. The Bills did end up losing that game, and it was to Zach Wilson, who, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, I'm sure you can come up with some comparisons about high first-round picks that might not amount to much, right? So I use the Bills as an example because you should feel better that the Eagles won.
Yeah, I mean, you watched the Super Bowl champion Chiefs lose to Jared Goff and the Lions on their home field. Like, there are other teams that got smoked this weekend or lost this weekend that were supposed to be good teams and may still be. Be glad with the win, and it doesn't mean we can't be critical of certain things. But the overall view on the Eagles should start with one thing, 1-0, and then we build from there.
Yeah, and I'm not doing, like, green-colored glasses. I'm not doing Kool-Aid. All I'm saying is I don't think we should be panicking just yet. Like, we got to get past this where it's funny. We react to Phillies games and Sixers games and Flyers games like an Eagles game now, right? Where you could lose game 6 of 162 and we're freaking out. Maybe Rob Thompson's not that good at the match. I mean, we heard it in April and May that Rob Thompson already lost his magic, right? And that, this team was a potential fluke. I heard your man John Kincaid say that last year could have been fluky if this year doesn't amount to something.
Oh, I've heard him say it many times.
Like, no, it's not fluky. Last year's team on paper was good, and they got hot at the right time, which is a normal thing in sports, getting hot at the right time. Not often do bad teams make it to the World Series or the Super Bowl or the Stanley Cup Finals or the NBA championship. Not often does that happen. It's usually when teams get hot. Miami Heat weren't a bad team. They weren't a superstar team, but they had a great player. They got hot, and they had a good culture, right? So I can't overreact too early. But the problem is we're now overreacting to one baseball game. We are at an all-time high with the Eagles. All-time high because we have such high expectations. It's cool to have high expectations, but you got to realize when you're going a little too far. Let's go to KB in Atlanta. KB, you're on the Fanatic.
Yo, what up, Tunis?
What's up, KB?
All right, man. So after, I got some time to decompress from the game, initially, you want to see the Eagles go out there and kick butt. You know what I'm saying? The first game of the season. But realistically, 90% of the starters, it was their first live action since February. So you got to put that in perspective. And then also, it's like everybody want to talk about what the Cowboys did to the Giants. Last time we seen the Giants in the playoffs, we beat them 38-7.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Too much stock into that. Like, let's be real. And also, San Francisco beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. Last time we played the Steelers, we had a record day.
Yeah, A.J. Brown had 3 touchdown receptions. Right. I mean,
Exactly.
I get being critical of your own team, but I just don't want to go too far. And you can also just look at history, right? Like, just last year, week 1, the Eagles barely beat the Lions. It was a 3-point win, and I know the Lions are now like everybody's favorite team, but the Lions didn't end up making the playoffs last year, and the Eagles barely beat them. The Patriots are probably not going to make the playoffs this year, and the Eagles barely beat them. But it is a win in the NFL, which is tough.
Exactly. So I'm not going to put too much stock in what other teams are doing. What we can do is just focus on what we need to do. And I have faith that Nick Sirianni and all of our great players will get better. Jordan Mailata, have we seen him in the preseason? No. Did he play good on Sunday? No. But we got to expect that he's going to get better. Now, if he don't get better, then we can kind of be a little more concerned. But I got faith in the guys that they're going to get better. And also, I want to also put out there, with all of the injuries going on and the depth at linebacker and safety, Holly Roseman is still a part of the organization. And
KB, I love that. And I said that yesterday, too, and thanks for the call, man. Like, Howie's not going to sit on his hands.
No.
He is not going to sit on his hands. There's talks about Budda Baker, and I know he reworked his contract, but you never know with Arizona. They might want to get rid of him, and something happens for the Eagles down the road for the safety position. Howie's not going to just say, this is fine, like we'll be okay. The Eagles were 8-1. They were 8-0, lost their first game of the season last year, and what did he do? He went out and got Ndamukong Suh and Linval Joseph. They lost their first game. Week 9 of the season, or 10, I forget if they had the bye yet or not. But they lost their first game after winning 8.
And they should have won that game, too.
Yeah, they should have.
Because if Quez Watkins doesn't fumble and there's not a bad penalty, that's the thing. Howie is an aggressive GM, and he's a guy who's very good at evaluating talent. He'll be able to figure out what this team needs. Just the tough thing, too, is you got to survive the short week before that in order to give him time to do this.
Yeah, so with Bradbury possibly being out, that's going to suck because of the weapons on this team for the Vikings. Josh Jobe needs more credit for the play he made at the end there where he pushed the receiver Bourne out so that he didn't get that second foot imbalance. that was a huge play, right? Because if he completes it, if he gets both feet down, the game's still going on. And as you said to Tom on Sunday when you were watching, you're like, oh my God, they could actually lose this game. The fact that he gets him out of bounds, game's over, Eagles win. Am I excited to see Josh Jobe for 4 quarters? No. I'm not. I wish I could see Slay and Bradbury, but at least corner depth has been there for the Eagles since the start of the preseason. Like, we've been excited for Jobe and Keely Ringo. Like, there's guys, cornerback, if you're losing one of these guys for hopefully just a week, right? Concussion protocol, hopefully he only misses a week, you're still okay. The linebacker is something wrong. Like, oh boy, you saw what the Patriots did over the middle of the field, just underneath. Yeah, just attacking the linebackers.
If they were healthy, if Nakobe Dean comes out of that game ready to play Thursday night against the Vikings, we're still jumping on these airwaves and saying the linebackers need to be significantly better. Without him, oh my goodness, this defensive front better have a better day getting after Kirk Cousins than they did getting after Mac Jones, because they're going to have to make up for some stuff on the back end.
Ryan in Denver. Ryan, you're on the Fanatic. He wants to talk about Mac Jones.
Yeah, I mean, let me stroke before I slap. First of all, we got a red October on the horizon.
Damn right.
Football is back. Pumpkin spice season, sweater weather. Let's be excited for that. Another round of last year.
You're all pumpkin spiced up. I'm anti-pumpkin spice.
Absolutely.
I think it's the most overrated thing in the world.
Oh, I'm a basic white woman when it comes to pumpkin spice.
You know what's slept on? The holiday blend. Like the Starbucks or any of these places, the Christmas holiday blend. Superior to the pumpkin spice.
No.
Yeah, dude, the pumpkin spice is so overrated. It completely jumped the shark.
All right, let me get back to Mac Jones. Guys, he is going to be a bottom 10 quarterback.
Yes.
And he moves the ball. I think we are remiss to understand how important TJ Edwards and CJ Garner-Johnson were to make that 70-sack season. And Jacoby Dean's made of glass. He's going to keep getting hurt, So I am afraid TJ Hawkinson's going to have 120 yards and 2 touchdowns against us, and then when they need to, they'll blow it off the top with Addison or JJ.
Hawkinson's going to 122 touchdowns?
Dude, did you see what the wide receiver with the last name Booty and some random tight end that no one knows about just did to us?
Yeah, I know, man. Look, I'll be honest. It was kind of concerning, but then again, everything was underneath, right? So hopefully they can. If TJ Hawkinson's the guy that's beating me, and hopefully you can slow down Justin Jefferson, I'll take it. That's probably their game plan anyway. Take away Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, but I'm not. You can't overreact week one, but the offense will figure it out. Even if you have a peewee football coach coaching that offense, they're gonna score. So to calm the airways here is, if they could figure out something at linebacker, we'll be okay and we'll be back in the playoffs.
Yeah, I hear you, Ryan. I appreciate the call, man. Enjoy your pumpkin spice, that trash.
Come on, man.
This is probably going to be a high-scoring affair Thursday.
I'd imagine.
Because Cousins did throw for over 300 yards. Justin Jefferson had, 175 yards receiving?
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
They scored 14 points, 17 points.
But that's exactly what the Eagles did with the Patriots, right? Like, I get Mac Jones threw for over 300 yards. But if you play that same defensive game...
Well, that was on 54 attempts, too, to what Ryan didn't mention. If you're throwing the ball 54 times, I would expect you to throw close to 300 yards, if not over.
But I'm saying, let's say the exact same game the Patriots played is what you get from Minnesota offensively on Thursday night. You're going to win that game by 20. Their defense is not good. The offense is going to be better. The conditions are going to be better.
That's a big one, too.
We
ignored that it rained.
Yeah.
We ignored that it rained. Every other game that was ugly, Cleveland and Cincinnati, ugly. And the score showed it, right? Cowboys, Giants, the Cowboys put up 40, but some of their touchdowns were because of just bad offensive play by the Giants, probably because of the weather. The Eagles and Patriots, according to us, the rain was different. The rain was dry rain. Right, and that we should ignore the fact that they played in bad conditions, and that Hurts couldn't really throw the football all that well.
Dude, it's because...
And so what do you do when you can't throw the football well? You line up the box. You put a lot of guys up in the box to take away the run game. Kenneth Gainwell, Jalen Hurts, DeAndre Swift, and his one carry.
Yeah.
Which is a problem.
It's become taboo in this city to say that the weather was a factor.
Right.
That they're contributing factors. No, they should win anyway. Yeah, and they did. And now that we look back on it, we can evaluate everything as a whole. And if you play on... by the way, 2 important Eagles games. The past 2 games that actually matter, not counting the preseason, on a field surface that's just been terrible.
Yeah.
Like, I can't wait to watch just like a normal
Just a
game
normal day.
where people aren't falling over.
Let's see here. Let me pull it up right now. I'm pretty sure Thursday.
Thursday, 75 and sunny is what I've been
Then
seeing.
you know what? I'm at 77 here in
It's a
Ballard
little hot.
Kinwood.
What's the humidity there?
I'm not
Might
checking.
have some trouble.
I'm not checking. 610-632-0975, the number to climb in. We have the Vault coming up at 11 o'clock. I told you Don Argot, producer of the Kelsey documentary. He's going to be joining the show coming up at 11:20. Jeff McLean at 12:20. We'll continue the Eagles conversation, but I also want to touch on the doubleheader yesterday. Phil's dropped game 1, what could have been an awesome moment. But they end up losing. They end up taking game 2, which is good, right? So you split the doubleheader with the Braves. That's a very good team, and that's a team that you're probably going to face in the playoffs. And it's a series that we're going to be pulling our hair out, but having a lot of fun doing it. So we'll touch on the doubleheader from yesterday as well. And back to your Eagles calls at 610-632-0975. I'm Andrew Souch.
Flat out dominant this afternoon. 113 pitches, a 4-hit shutout that included 6 strikeouts for Roy Oswalt.
Now, Chunas, being the great baseball man that you are, can you tell me what the significance of that game was?
So that was Phil's Mets. What year was this?
2010 on September 12th.
What, did they already win the division that early or something?
That put them in a 1-game lead for the division. They took over the division lead and then rattled off 11 straight on their way to winning the NL East.
I love that.
Including that game. They won it by 6 games over the Atlanta Braves.
I love that.
Maybe there's still some life in the Phillies to come back this time around.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. But it was cool to listen back to that. And, of course, the Mets losing is always a fun highlight. And thinking back on that 2010 team was cool.
All right. Well, that's the vault. Good job, Connor. That was tremendous work.
Well, I appreciate it.
I like bouncing around. I like showing love to people. By the way, so I just pulled up a random box score in the 2007-2008 season. Rockets-Lakers. They opened up the season. Yao was the starter, along with Tracy McGrady. I got Batum mixed up with someone. Shane Battier. Another corner 3 guy. They could play some defense. Steve Francis did not play that game. I wonder if he was out with injury. So Rafer Alston and Chuck Hayes were also on the court.
Well, of course.
How about coming off the bench, that Luis Scola?
Oh, there we go.
And
that's a name.
About, let's see how old he was at the time. 41-year-old Dikembe Mutombo.
Mutombo and Yao played on the same team?
Yep. He was the backup to Yao. I mean, he would only play like 10 minutes, but yeah, Mutombo was the backup.
That's just such a dead zone because that was it was the post really like good Iverson years you got into like when he was coming back or when he was with the Nuggets or whatever. It was a dead zone for me for following the Sixers.
I love basketball. Like that was like, it was up there with the Phillies. Like
but the Phils were so good. Like I was just so zoned in on that 2007, 8, 9, like the building of what could have been a dynasty.
Get you. I was huge hoop head. I still am, but like back then, like that was, go out there and play outside and pretend to be those guys.
Yeah, I feel you.
Pretend to be Rafer Alston.
Of course.
Who else? Like
he changed playgrounds across America.
Who's not doing that? By the way, official. Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles. That's it. He's done. And interesting tweet from Adam Schefter. So I'll read it word for word next about Aaron Rodgers. 610-632-0975. We'll also be joined by Don Argot, who is a filmmaker, and he's the guy that created the Kelsey documentary. I'm looking forward to talking to him about, how they came up with the idea with Jason, what it was like following him around all season long last year. And I'll straight up ask him, could this be the end? Because when I watched the trailer, my God, did it seem like it was. 610-632-0975, the number to climb in. I'll give you this Schefter tweet right after we speak to Don because it's kind of crazy. I'm Andrew Salchunas right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Some injury issues for the Birds. I'm Connor Thomas. This update is brought to you by DaVita. DaVita invests in career growth for nurses. Be a part of a team where you are a top priority. New pay rates at DaVita.jobs/Philly. That's DaVita.jobs/Philly. It's your time to join Team DaVita. Yes, the Eagles, they got the win in week 1, but they came out with a couple injury issues. Nakobe Dean has a foot injury that's expected to keep him out multiple weeks. James Bradbury currently in concussion protocol. The Birds will have to see about the availability of him for Thursday night, but they did sign former first-rounder linebacker Rashad Evans to the practice squad yesterday afternoon. He could possibly be elevated to replace Dean for Thursday night's matchup with the Vikings. The Phillies split their doubleheader with the Braves yesterday, dropping Game 1 in extras, but taking Game 2. They'll play Game 3 tonight at 6:40 p.m. at Citizens Bank Park. Zach Wheeler will take on Max Fried in that contest. Coming up next, don't miss Don Argot, the producer of the Kelsey documentary, joining Andrew Salchunas, and Jeff McLean will join the show at 12:20. Talk a little bit about the Birds and what they need to do to have a better performance on Thursday night against Minnesota. Keep it locked right here for all your latest news and information. I'm Connor Thomas for 97.5 The Fanatic.
Visit 975thefanatic.com to enter for a chance to win tickets for Oktoberfest on September 16th at the Philadelphia Zoo. Enjoy unlimited samples of more than 100 seasonal fall brews and ciders, plus food trucks, music, and amazing animals at America's First Zoo. The fundraiser supports the zoo's mission to create joyful discovery and inspire action for animals and habitats. Get tickets at philadelphiazoo.org. Must be 21 to attend.
Hey, it's Jen Scordo. This NFL season, get incredible offers from FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed. All customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Now is the time to join FanDuel. The app is easy to use, and you can bet on everything from spreads to player props and more. So make sure you visit FanDuel.com/Scordo, my last name, and kick off the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. FanDuel is the official partner of the NFL.
21 plus and present in PA. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. NFL Sunday Ticket offer ends 9/18/23. No refunds. Terms and embargoes apply. $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket, not YouTube TV. YouTube TV base plan required to watch YouTube TV. Redemption requires a Google account and current form of payment. Commercial use excluded. Subscription renews. Cancel anytime.
As summer fades, it's time to recharge your home with Preferred Pros. From refreshing interiors to enhancing curb appeal, make this the season of stunning transformations. For jobs big or small, count on the Preferred Pros team of trusted and reliable professionals to tackle your projects today.
Bachman Solar. Solar is more affordable than you think. Receive federal tax credits and apply for 0% financing with solar solutions at bachmansroofing.com.
Metropolitan Veterinary Associates in Norristown are here for your pet's special needs. Open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. They never close for emergencies. Find them at metro-vet.com.
Advanced Electrical Services Group. Generac is the name you can trust for automatic standby home generators. Advanced Electrical Services Group provides sales and service to match. Go to advancedesg.com for your free estimate.
This paid program is sponsored by businesses highly rated by actual customers. Find your preferred pros at 975thefanatic.com.
The oldest standing esport just learned some new tricks. This week, Valve unveiled a whole new world for their upcoming Counter-Strike 2 release. For the first time in the history of the franchise, games are going to be quicker. Matches will be concluded in 12 rounds now instead of 15, meaning everyone gets to play more matches. This is just the beginning of the major changes coming to Counter-Strike. Are you ready for a new era of competitive esports?
The latest esports and gaming news. Find it online at checkpointxp.com.
PayrollTaxCreditRefund.com. The ERC, sometimes called ERTC, Employee Retention Tax Credit Refund Program, part of the government's CARES Act, that refunds up to $26,000 per W-2 employee. This is not a loan, not PPP, the Paycheck Protection Program. ERC refunds are paid from the payroll tax that your business paid the IRS for on behalf of your W-2 employees. This is your money. PayrollTaxCreditRefund.com. Our goal is to get your business the largest refund allowable by IRS rules, and you keep it. PayrollTaxCreditRefund.com.
When my daughter gets a cold, I have a secret weapon. Dayquil Kids Berry from Vicks. Dayquil Kids is specially formulated to treat kids' most bothersome cold and cough symptoms quickly. And the best part is that Dayquil Kids Berry tastes really great. Aren't you supposed to be resting? Maybe.
Dayquil Kids Berry. The Kids Berrylicious daytime congestion, coughing, stuffy head, stuffy nose, just for kids. Medicine. Safe for kids 6 years plus.
Klein tools are new at Lowe's, pros. Lowe's knows you want top brands and quality products, and Klein Tools delivers. Right now, get the Klein 3-piece ModBox mobile workstation for $319.94 and the Klein 5-piece cushion grip screwdriver set for just $34.97, both exclusively at Lowe's. Shop the largest selection of Klein tools, the highest quality tool brand at Lowe's. Because Lowe's knows tools, Lowe's knows pros.
ESPN analyst and Philadelphia's own Kevin Nagandi joins the Anthony Gargano Show every Thursday at noon to break down and discuss all the headlines in Philly sports. Presented by the Siren ETF Trust, distributor Foreside Financial Services, LLC.
The weather this time of year is more unpredictable than my fantasy football team.
Wait 5 minutes and it'll change.
The weather or my team?
The weather. Your team stinks. I can't believe who you drafted in the first round.
A new system from Pierce Phelps will keep you comfortable no matter what the weather does. And right now, qualified buyers can enjoy 60 months interest-free financing on a new home comfort system. Visit nopaybryant.com to find a Delaware Valley dealer near you.
Bryant.
Whatever it takes.
Meineke is committed to keeping you and your vehicle safe and on the road. Right now, Meineke is offering a semi-synthetic oil change package for only $29.95 with a free tire rotation and battery check. For tires, brakes, batteries, exhaust systems, and more, Meineke, doing car care right.
Listen to 97.5 The Fanatic everywhere on Alexa at 975thefanatic.com, the Fanatic app, and now on Odyssey.
If you are 18 to 55 and have ADHD or are experiencing symptoms of ADHD, you may be eligible to participate in a research study. Call 866-DOC-LEON to learn more. Eligible participants who enroll in the study may receive investigational medication and compensation for time and travel. Marijuana use is not allowed during the study. For more information, call 866-DOC-LEON. That's 866-DOC-LEON for the ADHD study.
Your Philadelphia Union returned to Subaru Park as the boys in blue battle the number 1 ranked FC Cincinnati Saturday night, September 16th at 7:30 p.m. Don't miss the biggest party in Philly. Limited tickets remain. Kickoff is set for 7:30 p.m. Don't miss a second of the action. Watch every Union game this season on MLS Season Pass. Tune in all season long to 975thefanatic.com, the Fanatic app, or on your smart speaker. 97.5 The Fanatic is your official 2023 Union broadcast partner, presented by Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia.
More of the Anthony Gargano Show now
on 97.5 The Fanatic.
11:20, 97.5 The Fanatic. I'm Andrew Salchunas. 11 o'clock hour brought to you by Golden Nugget Jewelers, where Philly gets engaged. Coming up in a little bit, we're going to speak with Don Argot, who is a filmmaker, producer of the Kelsey documentary that's streaming exclusively on Prime. It's already out there, so you could start watching it. I can't wait to check this out. I talked about it yesterday. My wife is going to be away. She's heading out to Seattle on Saturday. So just me and the coop for 5 days. 5 days of dad and son time. But obviously he goes down to bed at like 8 o'clock. And so that's usually when I catch up with life with my wife because, you know, we're running around like chickens with our heads cut off. But it's going to be nice to be able to sit down and actually watch for a little bit. So I'm really excited to check that out this weekend. But let's talk to the man right now on the Comcast Business Hotline, Don Argot. Don, what's going on? It's a pleasure talking to you today.
Thanks for having me on.
I'm very excited. I've not had a chance to watch it yet. I was just saying before you got on, my wife is actually going to be away for 5 days. I got a 1-year-old at home. So when he goes to bed at like 8 o'clock this weekend, I'll be checking it out. Can't wait to watch Kelsey on Prime Video. I saw the trailer when it first came out, and it looks tremendous. What gave you the idea? You know, who came to who, and how was it putting this together during a season so magical like last year for the Eagles?
Yeah, well, luckily we're a Philadelphia-based production company, 914 Pictures. We've been in business for 20 years. We've done, a bunch of films. We did a film called The Art of the Steal, which a lot of people in this area know about the Barnes Foundation and controversy around that. But after that film, we really haven't made anything that was Philly-centric, Philly-focused, things that were shot here. So we got a call from a mutual friend that said that Connor Barwin and Jason Kelsey were looking to do a documentary exploring Jason retiring and what life looks like after football and what that transition out of football into that next chapter looks like. And we all thought that was really a fantastic idea because no one's really ever seen anything like that before, certainly not from a player kind of, playing and then not playing. Obviously, there's been a ton of retirement films and documentaries, athletes talking about, their careers retrospectively, but nothing like that was ever in the moment. So we were excited about that idea. And we actually started filming this the year before the season that was last season. And of course, he didn't retire.
Right.
So we decided to keep going. And luckily we did because, what we ended up with was kind of an embarrassment of riches and something that documentary filmmakers, strive for, dream of. I think we got, other than the ending that we wanted, we got everything. The story has everything in it, and so it was pretty incredible and pretty emotional. And it's been 2 years, and I'm still kind of processing it all, to be honest with you.
So give us a little insight, and of course, everybody should check it out. Prime Video. I'm so excited for it because the trailer just looked incredible. But just how in depth you get into not only the football player but the life of Jason Kelsey. I remember there was one scene in the trailer where his wife was talking about how she wants him to retire at a point where he can still get on the floor and get up comfortably while playing with his kids. So, like, you guys went in depth in their life, too.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I think people are going to be really blown away by the access, by the just the amount of intimate scenes that we have with the family, with him and Kylie, with him and his brother, with his kids. I mean, you mentioned the scene about, him getting on the floor playing with his kids. I mean, that was coming off the week 5 injury where, he got kind of banged up and, had his leg taped up, and he's hobbling around and, trying to rehab, but he still has to be a dad, and he's like swinging his kids around. And, there's that part of it. And then, one moment that, there's many moments that I can point to, but I think there's one moment in particular that I think everybody in this area certainly saw and remembers vividly: the end of the Super Bowl and him hugging his brother, and obviously him hugging his mom. But we were there literally an hour and a half after that moment when he sees his wife and kids for the first time in the hotel room. And that moment to me is the moment that transcends football, that shows what this film really is all about, which is about life and family. And, within that, there is healing that happens. And I think collectively in the city anyway, that I hope that this film does actually start to, heal some of those wounds from last year, because, it was devastating, as we all know. And I don't think we've really dealt with it,
Right.
And I think this film gives people an opportunity to do that. So I'm actually really excited for people's reaction to the film, just from that perspective.
How cool was it for you to experience the life of a football player outside of playing football, right? Because, I do sports talk for a living. So the Eagles won on Sunday over the Patriots, and we come on the air here Monday, and we're taking callers, people freaking out. This guy stinks. They made the wrong decision here. You need to bring this guy back. Ultimately, they're human, right? So they're going home banged up and bruised. They're just happy they won, right? They're ready to come back home and play Thursday night. So how cool is it for you to see kind of behind the curtain? Because we see these guys as players on the field, but ultimately they're humans, and there's so much to their lives dealing with injuries and dealing with being away, studying film and going to practice and going on the road to games, and then having to be dad, like you mentioned, when he's home.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what the film is about. That's what the access that we got. And I do think that, people are going to be surprised by what they see. And if you didn't love Jason Kelsey before you came into this, you will love him after. You'll love his family, because he's real. And, like you said, you get to see these players on the field. And it was important to Jason specifically when we were talking through how the film was coming together, that the film really shows you what an athlete does have to deal with. You have him at WIP in the morning show getting lauded and praised about how amazing he is. And then, week 15 against the Saints or whatever it is, Angelo Cataldi is like, Jason Kelsey sucked. He sucked, and it's like, wait a minute, you just said I was great, 2 months ago. And, players have to deal with that. I know a lot of them don't listen to sports radio. They don't listen to outside commentary, but, I think a lot of them, or most of them, that stuff does seep in, and it is part of what it takes to play at this level, and what it means to, be a father, be a husband, be a son, be a brother, and then have this incredible responsibility to a city and a fan base that just loves you and adores you, but it also let's face it, he has like a couple bad seasons in a row, they'll turn on him, as time's up or whatever. So that's just how we are as fans, because we're passionate about it. But I do think, and I hope that this film will kind of like dispel a lot of the things that we think about pro athletes, that, they just, they're not intelligent, or they don't have anything going on outside of football. I think this film is going to be an eye-opening experience.
Don, let me ask you before I let you go, and I appreciate you coming on. I know you're doing the tour today, and congratulations. I'm so excited to watch it. I'll be checking it out this weekend. But I'm telling you, man, that trailer captivated me. But one thing I got from the trailer, and I want to ask you, this is your honest thought, and not knowing Jason or speaking with Jason. Don, when I watched it, the first thing I said, and I was working our afternoon shift a few weeks ago, and I looked to Ricky Pitalico and Jen Scordo, and I'm honest to God, they're as my witnesses. I said to them, he's done after this year, because I watched the trailer, and that's just how it seemed. What do you think, Don?
Dude, I would say I would agree with you if I didn't know Jason the way I know him. And I think everybody around him will tell you the same thing. I don't know. It really does come down to the end of the year and the end of the season, and him having to like process it all and think about it. I mean, listen, physically, the game's just, it's not really meant to there's no 50-year-old people playing the NFL. There's
right.
reasons for that, right? So, there is a shelf life. He knows there's a shelf life. He knows his time's coming to an end. But let's also face it, he's still playing at like last season, which everybody was counting him
all pro,
saying like, this guy's done. He had one of the best seasons of his career.
Yep.
And that's supposed to be. And so how are you going to walk? Are you going to have the ability to walk away from the game when you just did it like almost as good as you've ever done it before? Isn't going to be hard. And so who knows how this year goes? What if it has another year that's the same way? I mean, I don't know. I think honestly, and this is my own opinion, obviously, but I think had they won the Super Bowl, I think he would have retired. I think it would have been a rough retirement for him, and I think he almost would have regretted it if he did, because I think he's still clearly able to play at a high level.
Oh, yeah.
But I think the Super Bowl win would have made it really, really hard to justify coming back for another year. Again, my opinion, that's not based on anything other than my opinion. I wish. I don't think anybody in the city really wants him to stop playing, to be honest with you.
No. I'm gonna cry. The day he's done, I think I'm probably gonna cry.
Well, I will tell you this. When you do watch it, and I'm not joking, go to CVS, stock up on tissues, because it's going to be emotional.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Don, look, it looks incredible. I can't wait to watch it this weekend. I'm telling everybody they should take the time to watch it. Kelsey, you can check it out on Prime Video. Tremendous job. I'm looking forward to it, Don, and great talking to you. Thanks for coming on today.
Thanks, man. Hi, thanks for having me.
There he is, Don Argot on the Comcast Business Hotline. I said it to Jen. I said it to Ricky. I watched that trailer during a commercial, and they were both like, obviously Jen's in the room that you're in now, and Ricky, he peruses the hallways during every commercial break. And when they walked back, they looked at me, and I was like, oh, I'm saving it for the air. I saw that trailer, and I was like, this is it. This is the last year for Jason Kelsey.
So when it was announced, I had a topic on the morning show where I brought it up, and I said that I'm worried about watching this because I think I'm not prepared to see how close he is to hanging it up. I feel like the big takeaway, one of the big takeaways, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of interesting looks at not only the season, but his home life and just who he is as a person.
Yeah.
Like a legend of Philadelphia, not just Philadelphia sports, like of Philadelphia.
Oh, legend, yeah, man.
But I think one of the big takeaways for me personally is going to be like how close he was to hanging it up last year and what that means for the potential of this being his last year.
Yeah, so I brought it up with Don. The moment that really got me, where I was like, all right, he's done, was when his wife, who she was on the podcast, the New Heights podcast a couple of days ago. She's awesome. She's hilarious, right? She's got a great personality.
You saw the first date story?
Yeah, it was hysterical. So she's clearly like really cool and funny, blah, 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 but she was serious. She was like, I want him to retire when he can still get up and down. Like, not, he can't do it anymore. Like, I want him to still be able to get up and down with my kids. And when they had her saying that, they showed him walking around his house, and he had like I don't know what the thing is that you use for, but it was for his ankle to keep it together. It was like a piece of metal with like screws just to kind of keep it in place. Like it was like, and you're watching him hobble. And this is in the middle of a season. This isn't like, and he went back out there the next game, right? Like he was still playing through it. So when I saw that and you start going, all right, family comes first. We hear that all the time, right? You know, he's got enough money where they're set. And she wants him to still be healthy. And the guy's played a lot of snaps at the center position, right? It's a brutal position to play in. But when I saw that trailer, I thought this was it. So I am going to watch it this weekend. I'm looking forward to it. But to Don's point, it's going to probably be emotional because of what he means to us. Like, I don't know if a guy in Kansas City cares, or maybe I shouldn't have used Kansas City, maybe Carolina. Like, I don't know if a fan from another team would get the same feel as we do.
Right.
He's been here his entire career, and he's just taken Philadelphia in. He's Bryce Harper, right, where he's got the house down in Sea Isle and just walks around. And the beauty of it is I've never heard a bad story of somebody, like, being annoying to Jason Kelsey, right? Like, he's part of us, which is really cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad that this documentary's out.
Me too. I've just got to disagree with Don on one thing.
All right.
He said that if he has a couple bad games or a bad year or something, that the city can turn on you or the fan base can turn on you. I think Jason Kelsey's at the point where he might be immune to that.
No, look.
If he might be, dude.
If he's giving up 3 sacks a game, he'll become Jason Peters.
No.
Jason Peters was held to a totally different standard. The bodyguard, man, we loved him.
Yeah.
The second the injuries kept mounting up, and, you know, he obviously didn't have as quick of a jump coming off at the left side, we were ready to move on.
No, I think the speech took him from player to like something that's above just being a football player in the city. I don't know that the city could ever, like, we'll say, okay, it might be time for him to hang it up, but it won't ever be turning on Jason Kelsey.
All right, I got you. We'll get to Jerry in a second, but speaking of potentially retiring, the Adam Schefter tweet that I mentioned to you. So Aaron Rodgers is done for the season. He tore Achilles yesterday. He got the MRI this morning, and it was confirmed that it's officially torn on the 4th play of his Jets career. He then put out, he hit the enter button and then went down. Rodgers' season now officially is over. There are already questions about whether his Hall of Fame career is over too.
Ooh.
And it makes you think, like, at his age, does he want to rehab one more time? Now, he's a gamer, but then again, like, I don't know what's in his head. Right?
No, but he doesn't know what's in his head.
I know. I know. So he might need to do another one of his dark retreats where he sits in darkness for 3 days to really figure out whether or not he wants to play football. But that's a tough injury to come back from. I know it's not as hard as it was like 10 years ago, right? But when you're at that age and you're going, man, I just did all that offseason stuff to play 4 snaps and I'm done. I wonder if it is done. Like, I wonder if he is going to retire after this injury. Or do you think he's going to want to give it one more shot?
It's crazy because he did just go through the contract thing with the Jets ahead of the season where they kind of like worked out a plan for him to be there longer. And
oh, yeah. That was before he tore his Achilles.
No, I got you.
On the 4th snap of his career with the Jets.
No, I'm just saying, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't think about that when he had it last night. And they were talking about how he's 38 and he's the oldest player in football and this, that, and the other thing. It's a real possibility. Oh, it sucks for Jets fans, though.
So... It's funny. I was talking to Anthony this morning, and we were talking about the Jets. And we were talking about how that is one cursed organization.
Oh, definitely.
And I know we think we have it bad at times. Like, they sucked, right? Like, their team stunk, but still got to 2 Super Bowls, or 2 AFC Championship games, with Mark Sanchez, who was not a good quarterback, right? Like, he wasn't any good. That defense was really good. Bill, Bob, Buddy, whichever Ryan it was.
I would go with Rex.
Rex Ryan, thank you. Rex Ryan was a good defensive mind and had a very good defensive team. And Mark Sanchez just didn't do enough to screw up, right?
Yeah.
And then they just stink for many, many years after that. And then they get at Rodgers. And, like, for the first time, Jets fans are legitimately excited. Like, legitimately excited. Not just like, oh, football's back, we're happy, right? Legitimately excited that they think they have a chance. And 4 plays in this, not 4 weeks. Not six weeks. 4 plays into his season. His Achilles, it's done.
Dude, and the twist of fate, like the worst part too, maybe not the worst part, but just like the extra knife twist, him carrying the flag out pre-game was just like, if you did,
that was cool though.
If you were a Jets fan that was like, I'm not totally all in on this, the vibes like right there of him carrying that flag out and the anniversary of 9/11, everything ahead of that season, just like you can't not believe if you're a fan of that fan base or a fan of that organization, and then 4 plays and
it's done. And look, they still end up winning the game because they have a good team. They have a good defense. They've Breece Hall and Dalvin Cook, but now they have Zach Wilson at quarterback.
Week 6 looks easier for the Birds right now.
Well, so of course everybody was talking about it yesterday. Does Wentz get the call? I'm asking you. Do you think Wentz gets the call?
I see. It's a cop-out, but I don't care because he doesn't make them any better.
No, I care.
Why do you care?
Because it's a story. Like I don't get what like people don't. He's history. No, it's a story. I love stories. I don't read. Okay, I don't read. I barely watch movies. My stories are sports, right? So for me, entertainment tonight is sports, right? Like that. I don't watch news half the time. I don't watch sitcoms. I don't watch it. I watch sports. That's my TV viewership, except for occasionally like, I watch The Bear.
It would be funny to me if they did get him. Like, that would be comedic if they signed Carson Wentz.
I am paying attention to every snap. Like, I will pay attention to every Nets game that Ben Simmons. Like, I don't get enough of it. Like, there's some guys that, whatever, like Jalen Reagor, I just check the box score to see how bad he plays.
Well, he doesn't have any games anymore. He doesn't play.
Right. Like, that's the kind of stuff that, like, I don't really care about anymore. But, like, there was so much drama surrounding Carson Wentz, so much drama surrounding Ben Simmons that I still want to see what keeps on, what happens. I'm not rooting for him to succeed. I'm rooting for him to fail.
Yeah, but you're like the guy who checks his ex's Instagram account. You've already got a new girlfriend that you've been going out with, and you got belief in him. Jalen Hurts is here. I'm so zoned in on my relationship with Jalen Hurts.
But as a fan of football, too, I'm not just an Eagles fan. As a fan of football, Carson Wentz on the Jets makes it more intriguing than Zach Wilson on the Jets because we just know Zach Wilson stinks.
Well, Wentz also stinks.
But they're still remember what happened? Can they recreate him? Blah, blah, blah. I would love for them to sign him. I don't think they do. I think they stick with Zach Wilson. They draft high, and the only reason why he's not starting is because they got Aaron Rodgers, right? So maybe they go, let's see what we can do with Zach Wilson, who we did draft high a couple of years ago.
It'll be,
but I would love
you're
to see
right.
Wentz.
It'll be interesting.
It will be. It will be. Let's go to Jerry in Costa Rica. Jerry, you're on the Fanatic.
Oh, good morning, guys.
What's up, Jerry?
You?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. I just wanted to pop you off speaker. So I thought both yesterday and today, Connor, hi, I don't think we spoke before.
Hey, Jerry.
But, how you doing, man?
Good, thanks.
You guys covered a lot of really good points about the game. Before I forget, because I'll get rolling and it'll be over. Andrew, I sent you an email yesterday.
I saw it. I got a lot going on right now that I have yet to get back to you.
I know. No problem. I just want,
but I'll talk to you.
You check it, and I appreciate it. You're a good man. So anyway, listen, I'd rather they look bad and win than look good and lose. They got a new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator. They played more games last year than anybody but the Chiefs. And, it's about momentum. You want them looking good and playing well and winning, towards the end of the season, into the playoffs. They're fine.
And Jerry, here's the thing. They might not be. Like, Brian Johnson might not be a good offensive coordinator, but I can't come to that determination after 1 week. He might be very good. No. And then everybody that freaked out after week 1 is like, oh, wait, I'm glad I freaked out for no reason.
Well, do we remember Nick's first season?
Right.
He didn't look too good the first 6 or 7
Right.
games.
It's there's going to be growing pains, but this team is talented enough to overcome said growing pains like they did week 1.
Yep, absolutely. And I think he's going to make adjustments, too. He's going to work with the coordinators. So real quick, I wanted to tell you, there's this little place I found about a mile from my house, and I think I found the only Tico, the only native Costa Rican that actually cares about any American sports. He's a Patriots fan. I had the best time. He's not, passionate about it like if he was from the States, but still at least he knew the game a little bit, and, we could go back and forth, and I just had the best time watching it down here. Everything is so different culturally.
That's
it's
cool.
just amazing.
Jerry,
Awesome.
I love
appreciate your support, bud.
Of course, man. Thanks for calling in. I love how happy you are. So if you missed it, Jerry, long time ago, heard Anthony talking about. Anthony was in Costa Rica for something. I don't know what it was, and like Jerry just remembered the location that he was in, and so like 2 weeks ago, or probably a month ago now, Jerry called in and goes, "Hey, I just wanted you to know, like you brought up this place years ago. I'm moving there." He said, stuff was going on here, and he's just like, "Look, I'm cool getting out of the States for a little bit," and he moved to Costa Rica.
That's
and
awesome.
He's checking in with us once a week, just letting us know how life's going in Costa Rica. And he's a Philadelphia, and it stems off of last night. It stems off of Jalen Hurts. It's just how we evaluate quarterbacks, because sometimes we could be right, sometimes we could be really wrong, sometimes we could want specific guys, and a few years later they look totally different. I want to have a conversation about quarterbacks. I'll explain more coming up next right here, 97.5 The Fanatic. This NFL season, get incredible offers from FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge, America's #1 sports book. New customers can bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. And if you listened to me yesterday with that SGP where you put $5 down, thank God you got that $200 in bonus bets guaranteed, because Aaron Rodgers, all those props, that ended in about 5 seconds. All customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Now's the time to join FanDuel. The app's super easy to use. You can bet on everything from spreads, player props, a whole lot more. Of course, we'll be talking about the Birds in a couple of days. So visit FanDuel.com/fanatic and kick off the NFL season with an offer you don't want to miss. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL. You got to be 21 plus, President PA. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. NFL Sunday Ticket offer ends September 18th, 2023. No refunds, terms, and embargoes apply. $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket, not YouTube TV. YouTube TV base plan required to watch YouTube TV. Redemption requires a Google account and current form of payment or commercial use excluded. Subscription renews. Cancel anytime.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Rodgers done for the season. I'm Connor Thomas. This update is brought to you by Macy's Backstage. What will you find at Macy's Backstage? Here's a hint. Fall finds for $25 and under, like sharp blazers, cozy sweaters, cargo pants, jackets, and more. Find the latest trends and new arrivals at a Macy's Backstage store near you. Yes, Aaron Rodgers done for the year with a torn Achilles. It changes the landscape of the AFC, the NFL, the Eagles schedule. So much stuff with him going down just 4 snaps into his tenure as New York Jets quarterback. That was the big news coming out of Monday Night Football. The Eagles, of course, won their Week 1 game in New England against the Patriots, but a quick turnaround with a Thursday night matchup with the Vikings looming and a couple injuries that are important to the Eagles. The Kobe Dean's foot injury is expected to sideline him multiple weeks. James Bradbury currently in concussion protocol. The Birds signed former first-round linebacker Rashaan Evans to the practice squad yesterday afternoon. He could be elevated for the game Thursday night to replace the injured Kobe Dean. The Phillies split their doubleheader with the Braves yesterday, losing Game 1 10-8. They won Game 2 7-5. They'll look to take a series lead in that 4-game set against the Braves in Game 3 tonight. 6:40 p.m. is first pitch. It'll be Zach Wheeler versus Max Fried. Don't miss Jeff McLean coming up at 12:20 to talk with Andrew a little bit about his takeaways from the Eagles' first game. And you can listen back to our interview with Don Argot, the producer of the Kelsey documentary that was just on at 11:20 at 975thefanatic.com. Keep it locked right here for all your latest news and information. I'm Connor Thomas for 97.5 The Fanatic.
97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, it's John Kincaid with more about my friends at Window Nation, because you're getting more from Window Nation. I love it when my clients make spectacular deals available to my listeners. But this one is ridiculous, because I'm going to tell you, who is giving you no interest on a loan for 2 full years? Who's doing that? Well, Window Nation's doing that. And the more windows you buy, the more you save, up to 50% off. Plus, with 2 years no interest and no payments, it's amazing. Your wallet's in your pocket. It's a fantastic deal, and it delivers more for your home. You're going to get the energy savings, the features, and the options, and the value and beauty, too. You're upgrading that home. Check out windownation.com and do your window shopping online. And then call them at 866-90Nation and say, I want free money for 2 full years. because they're giving it to you, and nobody else is doing that. Buy 11 to 15 windows, get 40% off. Buy 5 to 10 windows, get 30% off. The more you buy, the more you save. Whatever size your order is, but no money down, no payments, no interest for 2 full years. The only thing you won't get is more time. Call 866-90-NATION today. That's 866-90-NATION. Window Nation's the perfect fit.
As summer fades, it's time to recharge your home with Preferred Pros. From refreshing interiors to enhancing curb appeal, make this the season of stunning transformations. For jobs big or small, count on the Preferred Pros team of trusted and reliable professionals to tackle your projects today.
Gerhardt's Appliances. At Gerhardt's Appliances, you can design your dream kitchen on any budget. Shop local and save big at Gerhardt's.
Volpe Enterprises. Say goodbye to roof leaks and hello to peace of mind. Call Volpe Enterprises now at 1-855-GO-VOLPE.
J-Dog Junk Removal. Got junk and want it gone? Trust J-Dog, your local veteran-owned and operated junk removal and hauling pros. School, sports, after-school activities, time is short. So lose the stress and visit J-Dog Junk Removal, RDSC.com.
This paid program is sponsored by businesses highly rated by actual customers. Find your preferred pros at 975thefanatic.com.
At Wendy's, you don't need a psychic to tell you your hamburger's gonna taste great.
Excuse me?
Because every square hamburger is a sign you're getting the best.
Did someone say sign?
4 corners of hot and juicy fresh beef that make deliciousness its destiny every time.
Hold on. I'm getting fresh beef.
When you want the best hamburger, Square's the beef. Choose wisely.
Choose Wendy's, Dave Single. I am a psychic, after all.
Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
This is David Keller from David Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram. And you know I love Philly sports. But when I'm not at a game, I take care of my clients. Sometimes, it seems harder than ever to buy a car right now. And then when you do, you go into service, and it's awful, right? Well, I can fix all that. I mean, forget about the old way you bought a car. I'll get you the car you need, the terms you need, and then I'll take care of you right up until you buy your next car. Because I love my clients, and I love our Philly sports teams. And that's why I've always been your dealer. You just didn't know it.
Every business deserves a great deal. That's why we're launching the Mobile Made Free event. With Comcast Business Internet, new and existing customers can find out how to get 1 year of unlimited mobile for free. It's our best internet, powered by the next generation 10G network and with 99.9% reliability, plus 1 line of free mobile for an entire year.
Ends 9/21/2023. Restrictions apply. Mobile offer requires 100 megabits per second internet package and new unlimited intro mobile service.
Hurt on the job? It's your employer's responsibility to keep you safe. If you've been injured on a work site or anywhere on a job, you could have a case. Morgan & Morgan makes starting a claim easy, and it's free. You only pay if you win your case. That's lunch.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
By the time you're finished listening to this Pepsi Zero Sugar, you'll be 15 seconds closer to kickoff. Stock up now because game day is so close you can almost taste it. Football watching. Better with Pepsi.
Football is back in full swing with another week of epic games. And who's got you covered on the action for every single one of them? DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. New customers can bet $5 on football and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. No one's missing out on the action this season. All DraftKings customers can take advantage of 2 new offers every game day this September. Get in on the NFL Week 2 action with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app now and use the code FANATIC to sign up. New customers can bet just $5 and take home $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with the code FANATIC. The crown is yours. You must be 21 or older. Pennsylvania only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
WPEN Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station. Official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5, The Fanatic.
$11:51, 97.5 The Fanatic. I'm Andrew Salchunas. We got Jeff McLean coming up at 12:20. Later on today, I'm interested to hear this. Usually I don't really care, but at 1:15 the coordinators speak. And normally, if you've listened to the show the last couple of years, a lot of the press conferences happen during the midday time slot. And rarely do we play the coordinators. We played a lot of Jonathan Gannon last year because he was such a polarizing figure that we played a lot because we wanted to hear what he had to say. But I'm curious to hear what Brian Johnson has to say, and Sean Desai, but more so Brian Johnson, what he has to say after week one. And there's a lot of questions that, I would have for him. How much was the lack of a downfield offense because of rain or because of Bill Belichick or because, just struggles with the offense? Or why did DeAndre Swift have 2 touches? Why did Dallas Goedert have 1 target? Right? So there's a lot of things that I'm intrigued by coming off of Saturday's game and what his thoughts are going into Thursday night against a team that doesn't necessarily have a good defense. Now, he's not going to say that, but he's not going to give you any sort of game plan. But I'm curious to see what Brian Johnson has to say following his first game calling plays, see where he is comfort-wise, because I'll keep on saying it. I like that Brian Johnson is the offensive coordinator of this team. But I wasn't quick to be like, he's going to be great. I don't know what he's like on game day. Right? There are people that on game day might look at Doc Rivers. I think Doc Rivers is a brilliant basketball mind. I think Doc Rivers, an hour before before tip-off, is a good head coach. I think Doc Rivers, the second the ball tips off, is not that good of a head coach in basketball. Because I don't think he has a feel, and I think he makes bad substitutions, right? Like, you could be a brilliant basketball mind, and then when it comes down to it, come up small. You could be a very talented basketball player, like James Harden, but in certain spots, playoffs, come up small. So Brian Johnson, great football mind, quarterback, right? Knows Jalen Hurts inside and out. I don't know come game day. Stop it over there. I don't know come game day, like, does he know when to push the right buttons?
Yeah, that's a fair question. Listen, do we think Nick Sirianni is a very good football coach? One of the best in the NFL? Maybe deserving of Coach of the Year last year?
Yeah, deserving of Coach of the Year last year. Is he one of the greatest coaches of all time? I can't get there yet.
Not the point, though. He can't call plays in the NFL. He gave it up. I mean, not that he can't, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like, there are certain skill sets of guys, and there are also things that take time. You could be very good at some things, and you could struggle with others. But the other thing that I think is we look at coordinators as like the sum of the unit that they're coaching. Like, you look at the Eagles offense and you say, okay, cool. A lot of talented players. He should be a good coordinator. If this was a first-year quarterback and we watched them have that game and they won on the road in New England and then we come out of it, we wouldn't be saying, oh, this quarterback stinks. It would be, okay, we've seen one game.
Right.
It takes a lot more to evaluate. Now, part of that, the coordinator's job is easier because they do have the talent at their disposal.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Still, it's very early to evaluate. I know the expectations are high, but they're still new. They're guys that are figuring it out, and you're going to have to give them time to do so.
Now, speaking of DeAndre Swift and his 2 touches, I wonder if we should expect more, not just because, we should. Derek Gunn reporting that Fletcher Cox, which we already knew about the rib injury, but Kenneth Gainwell also dealing with a rib injury following the game. He says Cox should be good to go for Thursday night versus Minnesota. ... Gainwell remains a wait-and-see issue. And he says the first week of the NFL season has taken its toll on a number of teams, which is true. So maybe Gainwell questionable for Thursday.
Oof, that would be a bit of an issue.
It was surprising because he played the whole game.
He did, but, I mean, you just see those situations where maybe something bruises up after. It's a short week. Like, we're so built to be on the Sunday to Sunday schedule.
Right, that's true.
That you expect, okay, well, the guy plays the whole game. He's good by next Sunday. Yeah, it's different.
Yeah, so Kenneth Gainwell, keep an eye on him. Derek Gunn reporting that he's dealing with a rib injury. So that might mean definitely more DeAndre Swift. And, I said this yesterday. I wonder if part of the Penny healthy scratch was the fact that they were playing Thursday, week 2. Because it didn't really make sense. They had to sit him and the other guy because they needed to elevate Siposs and Covey. But it didn't necessarily make sense for him to be the odd man out. I know he didn't do anything flashy, but he also hasn't done anything bad. Like, he's a good runner, right? He's a good running back. We all know when healthy, he's a talented running back. So my thought yesterday, this was before I found out I knew anything about Gainwell, was, all right, maybe you keep him for Thursday because he's a guy with an injury history. Maybe he can't rebound well 4 days later. And so maybe it was a strategic healthy scratch for Gainwell.
It could go further than that.
Penny.
You're looking at it just like week 1 to week 2. The Eagles could be looking at him as almost a relief pitcher for the running back.
Could be.
Where it's just like, we know he's injury prone. Maybe he can't handle a full NFL season, but scratch him the first couple games, put him in where you need him. And if you get 6 good games of him fresh and stretch those out over important games, maybe that's more valuable to the team than him hurt by week 5.
Yeah, it'll be curious to see how they handle Penny. I wonder if teams have already called to be like, hey, so what's the deal with the? I mean, he barely costs any money, so the trade wouldn't be all that much.
Yeah, but I'm not moving him.
No, I'm not either, especially now that Gainwell's already banged up. So we'll see. But a little update from Derek Gunn. We'll get to the calls in a second, but I want to bring this up, quarterbacks. So I kind of had this thought last night watching the Bills game, and Josh Allen was terrible. Like he was awful for the Bills yesterday. They should not have lost that game. Forget the whole Zach Wilson aspect of it. They should not have lost that game. They had the lead, and they just completely couldn't do anything offensively. They were just sputtering nonstop. Josh Allen did not have a good year last year. And all of a sudden, it got weird in Buffalo. Stephon Diggs, remember, he basically left. After they lost the playoff game, he left and didn't talk to anyone. And it seemed like that might have been the end for Stephon Diggs. He got paid, so it's all good. But Josh Allen was supposed to be 1A, 1B with Patrick Mahomes. And it just shows how good Patrick Mahomes is that he's still at that level and it doesn't look like that's coming down anytime soon. But I remember when Hurts, during his first season, people were doing the stats comparison. Hurts in his first full year, Josh Allen his first full year, whatever. Maybe he can become Josh Allen. I'd take Jalen Hurts right now over Josh Allen.
Totally agree.
Right now, after week 1. Josh Allen still has that arm and is a gamer and is a big, but so is Jalen Hurts with all these things. But it's just so funny how we value and also evaluate quarterbacks. Like Joe Burrow just got paid so much money and did nothing week 1. That's going to happen. And it was ugly weather against Cleveland. I'm not saying that Joe Burrow stinks, but we're all so hungry for that franchise quarterback. All of us, not just us, but the NFL is so hungry for that franchise quarterback that I wonder if sometimes, I'm not saying they jump to a conclusion, but take Daniel Jones for an example. He stinks. He sucks. Like, Daniel Jones is not a good quarterback in the NFL, and maybe he's like Zach Wilson. He'll be on the bench in a couple of years. What do I know? He stinks. I'll say it again. Daniel Jones is not a good quarterback. I can't believe they paid him all that money. But they're so hungry for a franchise quarterback. Any team is, but the Giants so hungry for a franchise quarterback that they didn't think they had a better option out there. So they made Daniel Jones a rich man. Daniel Jones is rich for life because of the New York Giants. But, I mean, it's just such an important position, but I would almost rather go back into the draft and try again.
Yes, I totally agree. I mean, look at
unless you're sold, unless it's Patrick Mahomes,
yeah, dude, look at the team you're playing on Thursday night. They've been in quarterback purgatory forever.
Yeah.
Because you won't lose enough games to draft somebody high. Great quarterbacks don't come on the market in free agency or trade very often. And when they do, it turns out it's for a reason. And I think you're going to bring up a couple names of guys like that we've seen over the past couple of years.
Russell Wilson, a guy I coveted. I wanted them to trade for him last year. I was ready to do that package that would have been remember the A.J. Brown, Jordan Davis, all this kind of stuff. I would have done it. And I think the Eagles wanted to do it and would have done it. And it just didn't work out that way because Russell Wilson didn't want to come here. And thank God that that's the way it played out. But it makes you think why is Seattle not doing everything to keep him? I think the Packers would have liked to have Aaron Rodgers back. Right. So that's a little bit of a different circumstance.
But at the same time, he was 38. That's the thing. You don't get prime, great Super Bowl winning quarterbacks available because teams don't let them go.
Yeah, and you think about a couple years ago, but it's the other thing and how quick it changes. Josh Allen was supposed to be with Mahomes. Derek Carr was considered a top 8 quarterback a few years ago. He's now with the Saints and couldn't do anything the other day. And when he was with the Raiders last year, he had Devontae Adams, who's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. I don't know exactly what it is that defines a franchise quarterback, right? It's easy to just throw out Patrick Mahomes, but there's 31 other teams, so you need to find one. Hurts, you feel good about. after that, it's like, man, yeah, this guy's got a lot of talent, but, or maybe a game manager, which is such a, bad term. Maybe that's actually a good thing.
I guess, but like, when do you see game managers win the biggest games?
Jalen Hurts was not too far from it.
When?
In the Super Bowl.
Last year?
He manages, I'm saying game manager, like, it should not be considered a taboo word.
I think game manager is a term placed on guys where that's all they do.
I know. It shouldn't be that, though. And I know we're getting into semantics here, but, like, Jalen Hurts doesn't play hero ball unless it's with his legs.
I mean,
right?
Yeah, we saw him try and do it on Sunday.
But, like Carson Wentz is hero ball, right? Where he's going to try to stay alive, and then chuck it downfield, like Brett Favre. We're starting to see that with Josh Allen now, where he's making bad decisions. To me, game manager is a talented quarterback that manages his game well. That's why, like, I don't like the term game manager because I think it's considered a bad term where you're almost like downgrading a player.
I think it should be an attribute. But
Russell Wilson, to me, is a game manager. A Seattle Russell Wilson. He never did anything crazy. He just made the right throws. He put the throw balls in the right spot. When he needed to run, he did. When he needed to get down, he did. He didn't do anything stupid. Josh Allen, I love that Josh Allen wants to take the hit to try to get the extra yard. Josh Allen fumbles because of it. It's just true.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And we saw it with Hurts on Sunday on that last run that he had on the
Get down, because here's two things. I don't want you to fumble. I don't want you to get hurt.
Yes.
Because you're such an important piece of this team. So it's just funny. Like, quarterbacks were so starved for a franchise quarterback. Every city is. Every team is. Every fan base is. And it could go like that, like the Achilles injury to Aaron Rodgers, but obviously you can't base your decisions off of that. But we appoint these guys as top 5 quarterback. Lamar Jackson, top 5 quarterback. He's now outside the top 10 for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott, top 5 quarterback. He's now outside of the top 10. Just a few years ago, or going into last season, I hoped Hurts could get to 15. And I would have been happy with 15, right? I would have still looked for other options out there, but I would have been happy if he was 15. Now, he played top 2. I wouldn't call him a top 2 quarterback in the NFL. I'd call him hopefully in that top 5 conversation. But, these guys that are in the top 10, we do this every year. Who are the top 10 quarterbacks? One guy always falls out. Every year it seems like somebody falls out.
You're right. I start to get the feeling, this is me calling my shot a little bit, but I think the level of quarterback play, I think you're getting a smaller and smaller group every year of guys that can win. So Chris Collinsworth was kind of talking about it on the Sunday night broadcast.
Okay.
Where he was talking about the running back situation with New York and how Saquon, he just doesn't get paid because the running backs aren't as big of part of the offense anymore. And as the quarterback's role in the offense grew, they become more important. I think we're kind of at the point where franchise quarterback isn't good enough. I think you could have a franchise quarterback, but the ones that actually win the top level now, as the game continues to progress more passing heavy, you got to be like top 5 elite level. There's a handful of guys. And outside of that, you need something crazy to happen if you're going to win it all.
Yeah. I mean, it is like that because, and look, you'll have your Nick Foles here and there win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, but that's an anomaly.
Total outlier. But it's just funny how much it changes because of that. Like, you need to be that elite for a decade, right? I went back. This is the 2019 season. So this isn't even 5 seasons ago. All right? Here are your top quarterbacks. In terms of, here, what do you want me to do? Touchdown passes?
Yeah,
I'll do touchdown passes instead of yards. Your top 10 quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson, barely considered a top 10 quarterback anymore.
Yeah.
Up there, he's in the conversation. Paid like one. Jameis Winston.
Nope.
Russell Wilson.
Also nope.
Dak Prescott in the conversation.
Led the league in interceptions.
Carson Wentz, not on the team. League. Jimmy Garoppolo. Drew Brees retired, so let's skip Brees and Ryan. Mahomes, still at the top. Aaron Rodgers. Who knew what he was going to be, even if he stayed healthy? Deshaun Watson, Kirk Cousins. These are the guys that are at the top, and all those teams at the time, except maybe Tampa with Winston, all those teams probably felt great about their quarterback. We felt great about Wentz. This was when he was a top 10 quarterback. It's just so funny how quick it changes and how sometimes maybe we jump the gun with some of these guys a little too quick.
So your point of the conversation is we've jumped the gun on Jalen Hurts.
No, because you see, well, maybe. I don't know. It might be different next year. It might be different 2 years from now. Who knows? But it's just how we value and evaluate starting quarterbacks. I wonder if that changes as the years go on. You know, I don't think the money's ever going to change, but I'll try to compare it to baseball. Everybody's starting for an ace, right, in a rotation. There's not many, like, high-priced aces out there. Right
no, it's just the game's change. Like, the landscape of how the sport is played changes, and it changes how you evaluate positions, and quarterback's one of those right now.
So I wonder, like, you know, obviously people are going to still try to draft top 10 quarterback. Jalen Hurts won the second round. Right? Patrick Mahomes was outside the top 10. And those are two of your better quarterbacks in the league. It's going to be interesting. It's such a crapshoot because you could draft a guy number 1 overall like Jameis Winston and Carson Wentz number 2 with Goff ahead of him. Marcus Mariota.
Do the deal.
Jamarcus Russell. We're so starved. And sometimes we draft a guy who you think's just going to be okay. Like, I don't think anybody thought Zach Wilson was going to be a star, but he was going to be better than what the Jets had, and they needed a quarterback. Because here's the other thing. Teams don't wait another year. They don't go, oh, we'll wait till next year.
No, they see somebody, and they're like, we're tired of our fan base clamoring for someone.
We
want someone to put on billboards and run this offense and hope they'll turn into someone. And, yeah, a lot of times they don't.
It's almost smart to just keep, I don't want to do the quarterback.
Oh, do it.
But it might be smart to just hope that you, like, who knows if McKee becomes something. I doubt it, but who knows? Let's go to Steve in Percy. Steve, you're on the Fanatic.
Yo, guys, how's it going?
What's up, Steve?
Hey, just wanted to touch on Connor's point about, Kelsey and my undying love for him. I do think he's beyond booze at this point. After that Super Bowl speech, he's like above Dawkins. He's the Eagle. I think if he did give up 3 sacks, which I don't ever see that happen.
No, neither do I, because he's so good still.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't see us booing him. I see us showing concern, maybe doing like a Trey Turner type of thing for him. Kelsey,
maybe not boo, but you don't think there's going to be a caller that calls in and goes, "Man, Jason Kelsey's killing him right now." Like, you don't think that would happen? Because I do.
Well, yeah, we live in Philadelphia, so that'll always happen. But there's something about Kelsey, and I guess we're all going to see it when this documentary comes out. But he's bigger than Bryce. He is a Philadelphian. He could be mayor. He's untouchable in my opinion. He's the man, and I just love him. I love everything about him, and I hope we get one more year out of him. But I do think
dude, I think there's gonna be a lot of grown men in the Delaware Valley crying this week. I'm serious, man. When I watched the trailer, I was getting choked up.
Yeah. It's I don't know. He's so personable. He's down to earth. He's a dad. He's a badass. I mean, he's
a Philadelphia. Exactly. I mean, he is. Yeah. He's one of us, dude. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say, go Birds. And we all got to chill out. It's week 1. We're going to be fine. Be happy. We got a quarterback that's healthy.
Yep.
We got an excellent roster. We'll see how the coordinators do. But, everybody just chill out.
It's just been one game, and they won. That's all that matters. Thanks for the call, Steve. I appreciate it. 610-632-0975. Got Jeff McLean from the Inquirer coming up next. We'll get to him. I'm very excited. I see a call. Another caller from Costa Rica. I did not know that we had, hopefully we could get a meter out there. I don't think that's how it necessarily works, but apparently we got a big audience in Costa Rica because within 30 minutes, we have 2 callers from Costa Rica. So I'm looking forward to this. But we got Jeff McLean next, so we'll talk to him about the Eagles, and I'll ask him about Kenneth Gainwell. Derek Gunn's report that Gainwell is dealing with the rib injury. Let's see what happens. I'll ask him about the Penny idea. Like, did they maybe give him a healthy scratch because there's a short week 2. They want to use him against the Vikings. We'll find that all out with Jeff next right here. 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports update.
A power-filled doubleheader. I'm Connor Thomas. This update is brought to you by Temple Football. Don't miss the next two Temple Football home games as the Owls battle Norfolk State this Saturday at 2 p.m. Then the Miami Hurricanes on September 23rd. Both games at Lincoln Financial Field. Kids tickets on game days are as low as $10. Visit owlstix.com. A lot of runs scored in the Phillies doubleheader with the Braves yesterday. A 10-8 loss to Atlanta in Game 1 and a 7-5 win for your Vikings in Game 2. The offense looked good. The pitching still has some work to do as the bullpen cost what could have been a sweep after a Bryce Harper game-tying home run in the bottom of the ninth in Game 1. But Phils have a chance to bounce back again tonight. Game 3 against the Braves, 6:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Zach Wheeler versus Max Fried, the pitching matchup in that one. And a lot of Eagles questions with some injury concerns. You just heard Andrew talking about Kenneth Gainwell maybe having a rib issue ahead of the Thursday night game. We know that Kobe Dean's foot injury is expected to keep him out multiple weeks. And James Bradbury is currently in concussion protocol. You've got Jeff McLean coming up next to talk to Andrew about everything with the injury situation and all things Birds, so make sure you're tuned in on that. This update was also brought to you by Macy's Backstage. What will you find at Macy's Backstage? Here's a hint. Fall finds for $25 and under, like sharp blazers, cozy sweaters, cargo pants, jackets, and more. Find the latest trends and new arrivals at a Macy's Backstage store near you. Locked right here for all your latest news and information. I'm Connor Thomas for 97.5 The Fanatic.
Join the Cuz and Chunas for a special broadcast at South Philly Racing Sportsbook Thursday from 10 to 2 to celebrate the Birds' first home game. Presented by the Bet Parks Sportsbook.
As summer fades, it's time to recharge your home with Preferred Pros. From refreshing interiors to enhancing curb appeal, make this the season of stunning transformations. For jobs big or small, count on the Preferred Pros team of trusted and reliable professionals to tackle your projects today.
Purchasing a new cooling and heating system has never been easier. Horizon Services Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing will develop a custom solution installed the next day with no hassle financing.
Protect and increase the value of your home with Window Nation. Get 0% interest and 50% off all style of windows. 866-90Nation or windownation.com.
Great Railing offers the highest quality vinyl decking, fencing, and railing at discount prices on the Black Horse Pike in Williamstown or online at greatrailing.com.
This paid program is sponsored by businesses highly rated by actual customers. Find your preferred pros at 975thefanatic.com.
Hey guys, it's Connor Thomas, and throughout all of our lives, we make plans for all kinds of big events, and some for our children. And one of those events is where your child should go to college. It's a tough call, right? It is for everyone. So what do you do if college isn't for them at all? What if they're in college and it seems like it was the wrong choice for them? Maybe your son or daughter is always talking sports or creating videos. Well, CSB Media Arts Center is home to Connecticut School of Broadcasting and could be the perfect fit. I mean, it was for me. The world of content creation starts at CSB with audio and video production, podcasting, sports broadcasting, my personal favorite, and more. Get the skills employers, like mine here at 97.5 The Fanatic, need at CSB Media Arts Center in months, not years, and at a fraction of the cost of a 4-year degree. I know because I'm a very proud graduate. Schedule a tour and learn about all of CSB's programs like filmmaking, social media marketing, and even web development. CSB Media Arts Center in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Go ahead and check it out at gocsb.com. That's gocsb.com.
Hey, it's Ricky Bowe, and I want to tell you, construction sites are notoriously dangerous. It's not just the frequency of accidents that happen, it's the severity of the injuries that result. Whether the accident is caused by poorly maintained equipment, ignored safety regulations, faulty materials, weak scaffolding, or exposed electrical hazards, the employer is often negligent and at fault, but they'll try and blame the employee in order to escape potential liability. That's why, as soon as you experience an accident, you need to call 1-800-JUSTICE and get a free consultation from the personal injury experts at Swartz Culleton. You may be eligible for more than just workers' compensation. If there's a third-party liability from property owners, equipment manufacturers, or other contractors on site, they'll find it, and they'll make sure you are properly reimbursed for recovery, rehabilitation, loss of income, plus non-financial aspects like pain, suffering, and emotional distress. Need to know more? Visit swartzculleton.com or call 1-800-JUSTICE. In this David versus Goliath battle, they're the ones carrying a big slingshot.
Hey, did you know Vistaprint prints everything a small business needs? Like if a barbershop needs signage, we print outdoor signs, posters, and banners. Or if a ballet school needs merch.
1, 2,
We print tote bags, t-shirts, hoodies, hats. Or if a coffee shop needs a total refresh,
Lattes for Mike?
Vistaprint designs logos and prints it on menus, mugs, paper bags, anything. Because with Vistaprint, the printabilities are endless. Print it all with 25% off for new customers with code NEW25 at Vistaprint.com.
My dad has a cold, but also has high blood pressure. That's why I got him Vicks NyQuil High Blood Pressure for fast, powerful nighttime relief. Unlike some ordinary cold medicines, it's specially formulated for people like my dad. NyQuil High Blood Pressure is sugar-free, alcohol-free, and decongestant-free.
Vicks NyQuil High Blood Pressure. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, cold and flu for people with high blood pressure.
Like my dad.
Medicine. Use as directed.
If you are 18 to 55 and have ADHD or are experiencing symptoms of ADHD, you may be eligible to participate in a research study. Call 866-DOC-LEON to learn more. Eligible participants who enroll in the study may receive investigational medication and compensation for time and travel. Marijuana use is not allowed during the study. For more information, call 866-DOC-LEON. That's 866-DOC-LEON for the ADHD study.
Don't miss Coach Sirianni's press conference after every game, brought to you by the AAA Eagles MVP Experience, offering discounts, rewards, and experiences no Eagles fan will want to miss. Go to AAA.com/Eagles and become an MVP today.
Looking for a checking account that's built for you? Whether you love earning cash back or don't want fees or a minimum balance requirement, Citadel Credit Union has you covered. Plus, get a $300 bonus. Easily deposit checks right from your phone. Receive instant account alerts to stay updated. And simply tap and go with your contactless debit card. For a limited time, get $300 when you open a new checking account at citadelbanking.com/radio. Citadel Credit Union, a Forbes Best in State credit union. Federally insured by NCUA.
Football is back in full swing with another week of epic games. And who's got you covered on the action for every single one of them? DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. New customers can bet $5 on football and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. No one's missing out on the action this season. All DraftKings customers can take advantage of 2 new offers every game day this September. Get in on the NFL Week 2 action with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app now and use the code FANATIC to sign up. New customers can bet just $5 and take home $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with the code FANATIC. The crown is yours. You must be 21 or older. Pennsylvania only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
More of the Anthony Gargano Show now
on 97.5 The Fanatic.
12:19, 97.5 The Fanatic. I'm Andrew Salchunas. 12 o'clock hour. Brought to us by Service First Heating and Air Conditioning. Get 0% financing for 72 months and a $500 rebate when you purchase a complete heating and cooling system from Service First. Learn more at ServiceFirstHVAC.com. We'll be speaking to Jeff McLean momentarily. Looking forward to getting his thoughts on Sunday's game and, of course, the quick week Thursday at home, the home opener against the Minnesota Vikings. So let's head to the Comcast Business Hotline from the Inquirer, Inquirer.com. The great Jeff McLean. Jeff, what's going on, man? How are you today?
Hey, Andrew. Don't know how great I am, but thank you.
All right. Well, hey, I all I want to know is if you're at least okay. You're breathing. That's a good sign, right? You're on the air. That means we're still 6 feet above. So that's a good sign, right?
Yeah. You can introduce me as the OK Jeff McLean next time.
All right. The OK Jeff McLean is on the Comcast Business Hotline. Jeff, well, before we get to Thursday's game, let's focus a little bit on Sunday. Eagles get the win in Foxborough. It wasn't necessarily pretty, but between the weather and the coordinators, they got to get their feet wet, and you're still going up against Bill Belichick. I'm just happy they came out with a win.
Yeah, if you're an Eagles fan, clearly, and obviously if you're an Eagles player or coach, you're happy that they got the win in difficult circumstances with the weather, of course, and the opener, and not playing in the preseason, as you mentioned, trying to get the communication down with the new coordinators and getting a feel for what they want to do schematically and with their play calling. And quite frankly, some new pieces in there, some we may find out don't fit perfectly, and we'll see what happens there personnel-wise. But to get a W under those circumstances, a game in which, I think a number of other opposing teams probably would have capitalized on that Jalen Hurts fumble, would have capitalized on that 4th and 2 miss that the Eagles had when Nick Sirianni decided to roll the dice. You know, a W is not bad. Going 1-0 is not bad under all those circumstances.
So you mentioned personnel. Let's start with the offensive side of the ball. Kenneth Gainwell, were you surprised that he was the lead back and not just to start the game, but pretty much the entire game? DeAndre Swift only had 2 touches.
Yeah, not surprised that Kenny was involved. I was a little surprised he was as involved as I'm not even surprised that he started because I felt like DeAndre is going to be a little more on passing downs because he can catch the ball out of the backfield. And a lot of those touches, not a lot, but some of those touches that Kenneth Gainwell got were just because they were Jalen Hurts had to check down. They were playing a lot of shell coverage in the secondary, and that was just him taking the dumps there. But they didn't dress Rashad Penny. I don't think that was a complete surprise. It's going to be hard for them to dress 4 running backs, especially when Boston Scott returns kicks and contributes on special teams, and that's not something that Rashad Penny does. He can return the kicks, but I don't think he can do the other stuff that Boston does. But DeAndre Swift, I thought during camp, looked the most explosive running the ball, too. So for him to only get 1 carry, to me, was a surprise. And I think there were a couple targets. 1 pass he dropped as a long 3rd down. And then he had 1 other catch. But 2 touches enough. Nick Sirianni said that after the game that he doesn't want that to happen again. But to go to Kenny as often as did. And look, I'm not a Kenny hater. I think Kenny's a good player. Right. But I don't think he's a workhorse. I don't think he's going to be your number 1 guy that you can always rely on week in and week out. And I'm not saying that's what the Eagles are going to do. I felt like with the bye committee approach, they're going to, go with the hot hand. But I don't think he necessarily was hot in this game.
Is the Penny healthy scratch something that we should get used to, or is there a reason because they're playing Thursday this week? Kenneth Gainwell's dealing with a rib injury already, so who knows if he ends up dressing. But is he the odd man out for many weeks to come?
Well, that's a good point with Kenny. First off, yeah, he has a rib injury, and that's at that position that could be something that's going to keep him out. So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, look, again, as I just said, 4 running backs, dressing 4 running backs is kind of a luxury. And with Boston Scott, again, being your primary returner on kicks and also doing some of the other stuff in terms of the cover units, it just doesn't make as much sense to go with Penny. So I think right now he's kind of the 4th guy. And if there's an injury like they have with Kenny, or if maybe they feel like he's looking great in practice and one of the other guys has struggled, maybe they'll bring him up. But, it wasn't like they brought this guy in thinking that he was going to be the number 1 guy. They didn't. He's coming off all the injuries. They didn't really give up much in terms of dollar figures. Excuse me. So we'll see how that plays out. I mean, when Penny's on the field in his career, he's been very productive. But I think it's something that we could see a little more of.
What did you think of Brian Johnson first game as the OC?
Yeah, I didn't think it was great. I don't think it was horrible. I think some of it falls on the O-line and the communication up front there. I think Jalen Hurts missed some open reads. Again, credit to the Patriots. They really had a good scheme, and they played well, and they have talent on that side of the ball. Bill Belichick, as we know, is one of the greatest ever, especially on the defensive side. But there were a few calls that I wasn't really sure about. Obviously, the 3rd and 10 run, the 3rd and 20, like the 3rd and 20 run. So you're settling for a 56-yard field goal, and Jake made it. Jake made it to his credit. I mean, and he does have a big foot, and he's very good from beyond 50. So I don't know, maybe I'm wrong to question that, but it just seemed a little too conservative for me.
Yeah, but you also know the NFL, like if you get it to a guy, like let's say they get to a 4th and 4, right? Like so let's say they get a 16-yard pass completion, even though it's not like the offense was great in the area on Sunday, but 4th and 4 in the NFL, you're going for it.
Well, typically, I mean, that's what we saw out of Nick last year. Very aggressive in those circumstances, especially down that part of the field. I don't think Nick had a particularly great game. 25 seconds left in the half. He got 2 timeouts. I mean, that's enough time to get in field goal range in my book. The 4th and 2, which I didn't hate, but I didn't like the play call. So I felt like, it's going to take probably a little time here for Jalen to get comfortable also with Brian and how he's calling the plays and the offense as well. But look, it's one game. It's the first time he's ever called a game in the NFL. I think we got to give him some time here.
On the defense, you got Nakobe Dean out for about a month, at least we know so far. James Bradbury's still in concussion protocol with the short week. Don't feel good about his chances. What do you think they do defensively to fill those holes on Thursday?
Yeah, I mean, Josh Jobe will be the cornerback up for Bradbury if he doesn't go, which is probably likely, considering that he's in the protocol and it takes a little time to get out of that. We don't even know how serious it is, and I just think the timetable for that doesn't play in his favor. And then Nakobe Dean, I mean, Christian Ellis is the backup Mike. They said a couple players said after the game that Reed Blankenship kind of helped with some of the play calling as well. He's got the speaker in his helmet, but Christian was the one relaying him in. But he didn't really perform well in that spot. You also have Zach Cunningham, who I don't know if he was benched or not. I mean, there was a series in the first half that Ellis came in for Cunningham, so they probably had that plan. And then later on, you saw Cunningham come out, and he wasn't performing well up to that point. But then Nakobe got hurt, so they had to go with those two guys. Now they signed Rashad Evans. Guy's been around a long time.
Yep.
Started all 15 games for the Falcons last year, but the reason why he's on the street at this point in the season. And you have Nicholas Morrow on the practice squad, so you possibly could see him caught up. But the options at linebacker aren't great.
Yeah, they're not. It's something that I was kind of concerned about going into the season. So we'll see. I mean, does Howie Roseman make a decision at some point down the road, or do you kind of see how this plays out in the meantime? But Deshaun Desai, I asked you about Brian Johnson. Desai, his first game. What you think?
Yeah, I think we're obviously trying to get a feel for what he's going to do. They kept things very vanilla during training camp in the preseason. We know that he's from the Vic Fangio school. We know what that entails a lot of times: two high safeties, cell coverage, a lot of zone. You're going to mix it up with the fronts. Now, he didn't use a lot of five-man fronts or a 5-1 penny front. That surprised me a little bit. I thought they were effective when they were in their circumstances. Now, some of that had to do with their just matching personnel. So I don't think that's going to be a week-to-week thing. But, having two linebackers out on the field all the time, I'm talking inside linebackers, off-ball linebackers, I don't know if that's going to be the best use of your personnel considering what the Eagles have. In terms of the play calling, there were a few calls, loose ones that I questioned. There was a 3rd and 10 when the Patriots hadn't even completed a pass longer than 10 yards up to that point, and he blitzed. And a wide open guy across the middle in that vacancy. And I thought that was not the right call at that circumstance. And there were I felt like a few others in the second half, especially when the Patriots just marched down the field on them, that I think probably Sean would like to have back. I don't think it was an egregious type of play calling from him. I think he blitzed about 20% of the time, which is right around the number that we saw from Jonathan Gannon last year. A few of them got home. But, look, that defensive line really played well, I thought. They were definitely the hero. Aside from Jake Elliott, they were the heroes of this game. And while they didn't get to Mac Jones for a sack through the first 3 quarters, a lot of that had to do with the quick game. He was getting the ball out quick. But they were pressuring him. Jalen Carter was getting to him. Milton Williams had a couple rushes where he was getting to him. Hassan Reddick was just there, and then they finally started delivering late in that game. And I felt like that was well earned because they played well, and that's what they're going to hang their hats on. So I'm not really concerned about defense, at least as it relates to the defensive line, because I think they're going to cover for a lot of what they lack in the middle of the field at linebacker and safety.
Speaking of Jeff McLean, Inquirer.com. Now, there's a little bit of concern defensively is Thursday. You're going up against a team, even though they lost, and I can't believe they lost to the Buccaneers. You're going up against Justin Jefferson, came close to 200 yards again. You got Addison, Kirk Cousins. You know what he can do. Obviously, we've seen his shortcomings before. When you start looking to Thursday, what are you going to be paying attention to most?
I mean, yeah, you mentioned it, Justin Jefferson. And the last time he came into Philadelphia, Darius Slay had a big part in shutting him down. That was probably the least productive he was all last season. They basically shaded a second guy to his side. I imagine that worked. Why not do it again? Now other teams have tried to do that, and it hasn't exactly worked because Justin Jefferson's so good, and they do have other guys, as you mentioned, in that offense. That was, again, maybe Kirk Cousins' worst performance last year. Threw 3 interceptions, 2 of them to Darius Slay. Is it going to get that bad again? I can only think that there's only one place to go, and that's up for them. But it's going to be a test. And while they did, lose a game that most people thought they'd win against the Buccaneers, the Vikings our playoff team last year won 13 games. Some people thought that was a little misleading. A lot of that had to do with the schedule they had, some fluky type wins they had. But again, that's a team that does have talent, and on a short week with the Eagles having several injuries on the defensive side of the ball, you got to be a little concerned.
Jeff, before I let you go, we were having a conversation before you came on about quarterbacks and obviously how high we value them and how much we evaluate them to try to find the franchise quarterback. Because every team is starved for the franchise quarterback. Josh Allen was supposed to be 1A, 1B with Mahomes. And last year, he wasn't the Josh Allen we've been seeing. And yesterday, he wasn't much better. Aaron Rodgers, they trade for him, and the Achilles pops, which sucks. Russell Wilson, the Broncos trade for him. He was better Sunday than he was last year, but he's still not the same Russell Wilson. And there's so many young players that we appoint, right? Like Joe Burrow is now the highest paid quarterback. Justin Herbert was up there. Jalen Hurts up there. Is it ever going to change how we evaluate or sometimes maybe overvalue the quarterback? I know we're starved for it, but it's just something where I go, man, you look back 3-4 years ago, the guys that were in the top 10, they're not in a lot of them aren't in the top 10 anymore.
Yeah, I guess the subtext was Jalen worth the contract. I think so. And again, this isn't like a backbreaking kind of franchise contract if you look at the details to it.
And I'm giving him the contract. Like, I just want to make that clear. I'm still paying the guy. But I just feel like Josh Allen all of a sudden has he lost it, right? And he's supposed to be the guy in Buffalo that finally brings him the Super Bowl.
He still had a pretty good year last year. It's one game. He didn't play well. Joe Burrow, one game, that had a really good scheme against him. The Browns really shut him down last week. But, you think over the long haul that these guys are going to give you more chances to win than not. Are you going to have bad games? They're going to have bad seasons in there. You've seen it before with quarterbacks. It's just sometimes they've had, for whatever the reason, because there's more than just one guy, right? There's, 53 guys on a roster. There's coaches. There's injuries. There's so many other factors that can play into the success or failure of a quarterback. But you want those guys that year in and year out at least going to give you a chance. And I think Josh Allen still falls in that category. Burrow, Herbert, Mahomes, of course. I think Jalen Hurts is going to be that guy. Now, the question about him was whether he could stack the type of season he had last year on top of another and do it year in and year out. Could he potentially take a step back this year, like maybe a minor one? I think it's possible.
Yeah.
He's going to really seem to stop him. But I think overall, Jalen, I'm not concerned about him. It wasn't the greatest performance out of him, but he didn't play in the preseason. The Patriots seem to have their number in terms of what they were doing schematically, new play caller. But I do understand what you're saying. Look, it's a tough position. They certainly, the rules the NFL have enacted have done a lot to benefit those guys at that position. So it really plays into how you allocate your salary cap to make sure you get that guy and at least at some point pay him if you feel like you have the answer.
Great stuff as always, Jeff. I appreciate you coming on. We'll be talking to you next week, okay?
All right, cool.
There he is, Jeff McLean, Inquirer.com. Yeah, let me make it clear because I am paying Jalen Hurts, but it's just how we look at some quarterbacks and how quick, like it just changes so quick. And I remember when Hurts got the contract, which I was in favor of, there were people that were like, oh man, now I'm concerned because now you're going to have to figure out how to draft and sign free agents for cheap to still be able to win. Now, the Chiefs are doing that because they have Mahomes. You just have to make sure that the guy that you're signing, this quarterback that you're signing, can still win you games even with lesser talent around him.
Yeah, your question isn't so much about Hurts, but more the evaluation of the position and how do the Eagles look at that as far as making sure they don't fall victim to that.
Because Wentz was that guy 4 years ago.
Yeah.
When he got the contract. There was nobody upset about the contract, right? And then he fell apart. And that's a lot of these guys. I mean,
he also had a major injury going into that contract,
which could happen to anybody.
I'm just saying, Hurts has not had that yet.
Right.
And knock on wood, he doesn't have that. But that was a different situation in general. And also, the locker room stuff with Wentz was totally different. Hurts is about as ironclad of a bet as you can make.
Yeah, I agree.
If you're going to bet on a quarterback, feel good about that.
Yeah, I agree. Now, speaking of Wentz, Diana Rossini reporting that the New York Jets have started to reach out to veteran free agent quarterbacks.
Wonder who that could be.
He could be one of them. Now, I'm excited for this, and I have to tell you about an all-time awful loss in fantasy football in a second. But we have another caller from Costa Rica. We're big in Costa Rica, Connor. Let's go to Norm in Costa Rica. Norm, you're on the Fanatic.
Hey, fellas, pura vida.
What's up?
Hey.
I'm chilling. I come up here every year this time because there's only spring and summer in Costa Rica. But right now, by noon, the sunny weather's gone, and it's raining cats and dogs. And I don't want to hear my mother-in-law saying, "Isn't the rain beautiful?" in Spanish. I cuss at her in Costa Rican Spanish, so I come up here, and I get to kick off football and get to hear you guys. But the only way I can do it is call because Odyssey doesn't work in Costa Rica.
Well, YouTube does.
Oh, I gotta. I'm an idiot.
We stream live on YouTube. So I'm waving to the camera right now. Me and Connor are on camera. Yeah, you can check out John Kincaid show on YouTube. Check us out on YouTube. The only show you can't see is afternoon show because they're on NBC Philly. But
they're on TV.
Yep, but the morning and afternoon or morning and midday we're on YouTube, so you can watch us live.
Costa Ricans right now are throwing their beer bottles at the TV screen because they're playing a friendly against the United Arab Emirates, and with Navas in goal, they're getting their heads handed to them 4-0.
So it's tough.
My mother-in-law will be cussing, and my father-in-law will be shaking his head. But yeah, it's a great lifestyle. I've been there 7 years, and I love it.
What brought you over?
My wife, who I met up here in Jersey, I'm on the turnpike now driving down from visiting my college roommate at East Stroudsburg. I always go see them. I'm heading to Jersey now. So, my wife was from Costa Rica. Sadly, she died. We were going to retire there, and she wanted my stepdaughter, her daughter, to be raised in Costa Rica. We were going to go anyway, so she asked me to, and she had cancer, and I said, of course.
I'm sorry about that.
I live in Costa Rica with my stepdaughter and great family and everything. So I have to go to sports bars to see Penn State and the Eagles. I get NBA channel. I get MLB TV. I can't get the NFL channel down there, so I go to sports bars and get cussed at by the Costa Ricans.
Well, Norm, do me a favor. I'm going to put you on hold, and I'm going to grab your email because I want you to be able to get Jerry's email, who's the guy that just moved to Costa Rica. Maybe you guys can link up.
Yeah, I'm near the capital, but you're not far from anywhere in Costa Rica.
All right, so I'll put you on hold. We'll grab your email, and then we'll connect Jerry and Norm. Two Philadelphia fans that are just living it up in Costa Rica now.
You're a regular Costa Rican matchmaker.
Yeah, that's what I do. So if you could grab his email, I would appreciate that. 610-632-0975 is the number to climb in. So this fantasy football loss, which, by the way, congrats to me, taking down Ray Dunn.
Proud of you.
Which I believe, not that I needed to win fantasy to solidify King of the Vault, but I beat Ray handedly. Beat him down.
I always had my own favorite pick for King of the Vault. I'll just need him to be better at fantasy next time you guys match up.
So we have a work fantasy league going, and we're in different. So we have so many people that we have an AFC and an NFC.
Yeah.
So I am with Ray, as I mentioned. I have Chuck, our PD, B Gunn, Brendan Gunn.
Okay.
T-Mac, Tim McManus, Dylan, Todd DeFeo from our incredible promotions team, Tyrone, Haley, and Jen. So your week one winners were Dylan over Tim McManus.
What an upset there.
Myself over Ray Dunn. Not a shock. B Gun over Chuck. Todd DeFeo beat Tyrone, and Haley took down Jen.
Love that.
So that was your week one tallies.
You want the week one from are we the NFC or the AFC?
Whatever you want to be.
Okay, we'll be the NFC.
Okay.
Always feel better about being the NFC. The morning show, a joint team with the guys from the John Kincaid Show, took down Mike Vito. Kevin Cooney beat Tom Alvord. Matt Cowper, who works at sales here, took down Silvana. Eric Simon, who is one of our great promotions guys, beat Jamie Lynch. And Devon beat Matt Menark.
Love that.
So smoked Vito in week one.
There you go.
Now I got Stat, the commissioner of this whole thing, coming up in week two.
Who somehow had the first overall pick. I found that interesting.
Really? Is he in both? Because we had the one.
Oh, you know what? Him and Dylan are a tandem, I'm pretty sure.
He has two teams?
Interesting.
Oh, that's collusion right there.
Interesting. Did he put in two
he better have.
buy-ins? Interesting.
We'll have to discuss.
But this fantasy football loss, so there was a guy who was trailing by 0.6 of a point. No, less. It was 93.56 to 93.5.
0.06 of a point.
0.06 of a point. And he had Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback.
Oh, no.
Who got him 0 points.
Oh, no.
And that's how he lost.
He needed a 7-yard completion.
Yeah.
Wait, not even.
4, I think it's every 4 yards, right? Something like that.
Unless they're going by either
Whatever.
way.
Yeah, he was that sucks.
That's tough.
That's an all-time beat in fantasy football. That's tough.
Thoughts and prayers.
That's why I don't like doing it.
T's and P's.
Whatever. 610-632-0975, the number to climb in. We'll continue the Eagles conversation. And coming up around 1:15, the coordinators will speak. And I'm interested to see, hopefully Brian Johnson goes first. I want to hear what Brian Johnson has to say about his first performance. I'm not going to crush the guy after 1 week. You just heard from Jeff McLean. He said he did not have a good game. But it's still too early to tell if a guy is absolutely trash or not, which a lot of people are acting that he is. I'm Andrew Salchunas right here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
A quick turnaround for the Eagles. I'm Connor Thomas. This update is brought to you by Spring Garden Lending. Spring Garden Lending provides financing to developers working hard to build good, affordable housing for all home buyers. Spring Garden Lending, in the game to lend. Faster than a bank, less expensive than hard money lenders. Yes, we all know the Eagles. A quick turnaround with Thursday Night Football looming just 2 days away. And they've got some injury issues to keep an eye on. Nakobe Dean is expected to miss multiple weeks with a foot injury. James Bradbury currently in concussion protocol. Don't know if he's going to be available for Thursday night. And Kenneth Gainwell might have a rib issue that could cause problems for his availability. The Birds will have to find a way to regroup and have a better performance than what they had in New England, despite the win over the Patriots in Week 1. The Phils got a win yesterday and also a loss. They split their doubleheader with the Braves. Pitching was rough for the Phillies throughout the day, but the offense put up 8 runs in Game 1 and the loss 7 in Game 2 in the win. They'll have a chance to get back after it tonight for Game 3 of that series, 6:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is first pitch. Zach Wheeler and Max Fried is the pitching matchup in that one. You just heard Jeff McLean a little bit earlier this segment talk with Andrew about his thoughts on the Birds. You can listen to that interview podcast back on 975thefanatic.com. This update was also brought to you by Macy's Backstage. What will you find at Macy's Backstage? Here's a hint. Fall finds for $25 and under, like sharp blazers, cozy sweaters, cargo pants, jackets, and more. Find the latest trends and new arrivals at a Macy's Backstage store near you. Keep it locked right here for all your latest news and info. I'm Connor Thomas for 97.5 The Fanatic.
The big sports stories everyone is talking about in Philadelphia. The John Kincaid Show. Tomorrow morning 6 to 10. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Every business deserves a great deal. That's why, for a limited time, we're launching the Mobile Made Free event. With Comcast Business Internet, new and existing customers can get 1 year of unlimited mobile for free. Yep, you heard that right. An entire year, free. It's our best internet, powered by the next generation 10G network and with 99.9% reliability. Plus 1 line of free mobile for a year. The Mobile Made Free event is happening now.
Get started with fast speeds and advanced security for $49 a month for 12 months with no annual contract. Plus, ask how to get up to a $600 prepaid card with a qualifying bundle. Call or go online to learn more. Offer ends 9/21/2023. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and automatic payments. New 50 megabits per second internet and Security Edge customers only. Equipment, taxes, and other fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Mobile offer requires 100 megabits per second internet and new unlimited intro mobile service.
Football is back in full swing with another week of epic games. And who's got you covered on the action for every single one of them? DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. New customers can bet $5 on football and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. No one's missing out on the action this season. All DraftKings customers can take advantage of 2 new offers every game day this September. Get in on the NFL Week 2 action with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app now and use the code FANATIC to sign up. New customers can bet just $5 and take home $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with the code Fanatic. The crown is yours. You must be 21 or older. Pennsylvania only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey guys, it's Connor Thomas, and throughout all of our lives, we make plans for all kinds of big events, and some for our children. And one of those events is where your child should go to college. It's a tough call, right? It is for everyone. So what do you do if college isn't for them at all? What if they're in college and it seems like it was the wrong choice for them? Maybe your son or daughter's always talking sports or creating videos. Well, CSB Media Arts Center is home to Connecticut School of Broadcasting and could be the perfect fit. I mean, it was for me. The world of content creation starts at CSB with audio and video production, podcasting, sports broadcasting, my personal favorite, and more. Get the skills employers, like mine here at 97.5 The Fanatic, need at CSB Media Arts Center in months, not years, and at a fraction of the cost of a 4-year degree. I know because I'm a very proud graduate. Schedule a tour and learn about all of CSB's programs like filmmaking, social media marketing, and even web development. CSB Media Arts Center in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Go ahead and check it out at GoCSB.com. That's GoCSB.com.
Ugh, I don't have time for a cold.
Honey.
Honey?
You need DayQuil Severe Honey flavor.
DayQuil Severe Honey gives you powerful cold and flu symptom relief with a honey-licious taste. Because life doesn't stop for a cold.
Okay, I'm ready to go.
Now I'm getting a cold.
Honey.
Try DayQuil Severe Honey for powerful cold and flu relief. DayQuil Severe Honey flavor. The daytime coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever, honey-licious. Power through your day, medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Can I get a weight reading on the cat in exam 3?
Zuri needs a new vet tech after their current one literally moved to a farm.
Detailed checkup is waiting.
But finding an ideal replacement takes some training.
This is like herding cats.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Schedule virtual interviews and talk to candidates right from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your foundation and damaging your home. Cracks in walls and uneven floors are just a few signs your foundation is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from BQ Basements and Concrete. We put water back in its place. Go to basementsbybq.com. License number PA158514, 13VH11822-900.
This is David Keller from David Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram. And you know I love Philly sports. But when I'm not at a game, I take care of my clients. Sometimes, it seems harder than ever to buy a car right now. And then when you do, you go into service, and it's awful, right? Well, I can fix all that. I mean, forget about the old way you bought a car. I'll get you the car you need, the terms you need, and then I'll take care of you right up until you buy your next car. Because I love my clients, and I love our Philly sports teams. And that's why I've always been your dealer. You just didn't know it.
Rally House, shop every team in town. College and pro, come on, it's time to go.
Philly fans, kick off the NFL season at Rally House Wynwood Square, Centerton Square, and Willow Grove this weekend. Prizes, giveaways, and much more.
Eagles, Sixers, Villanova, Penn State, Temple, Phillies, Flyers, don't be late. Rally House, it's your city, it's your house, it's a Rally House.
Celebrate and kick off the season with us this Friday and Saturday.
Your Philadelphia Union returned to Subaru Park as the boys in blue battle the number 1 ranked FC Cincinnati Saturday night, September 16th at 7:30 p.m. Don't miss the biggest party in Philly. Limited tickets remain. Kickoff is set for 7:30 p.m. Don't miss a second of the action. Watch every Union game this season on MLS Season Pass. Tune in all season long to 97.5thefanatic.com, the Fanatic app, or on your smart speaker. 97.5 The Fanatic is your official 2023 Union broadcast partner, presented by Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia.
WPEN Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station. Official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic.
$12.50, 97.5 The Fanatic. I'm Andrew Salchunas. 97.5 The Fanatic. Coming up in a couple minutes, I want to get into a conversation about the Eagles, obviously, but some of the strengths we saw from week 1, and, of course, the weaknesses we saw in week 1, the good and the bad, really, and whether or not it's going to remain good Thursday, remain bad Thursday? Will it get better? Will it get worse? So we'll do that in a few minutes. But Connor, I'm going to say something that could, eventually get me on Old Takes Exposed, but whatever.
What do you got?
So the New York Mets just hired David Stearns, not David Stern,
Okay.
R.I.P.
Well.
David Stearns, president of baseball operations. He's another one of these. Oh, he's so young and has such a great mind.
Is he an analytics guy?
So he's 38. He was the GM and then became the president of baseball operations for the Brewers. And the Brewers actually have played well under his command. They got to the NLCS in 2018. I think
really good pitching staff lately.
Yeah, really. I mean, really good pitching staff. He got there in 2015 and is under contract through this season. Oh, no, he stepped down at the end of last year. Okay. So he stepped down at the end of last season. Oh, shocker, when they didn't make the playoffs. I love these guys, right? Oh, man, he's such a genius, bright mind. He blah, blah, blah. They didn't make the playoffs, so he goes,
Well, at least he
I'm gonna
didn't
step
trade
down.
like an all-world closer at the deadline while he was also trying to push for the playoffs. But
right.
Good luck, New York.
So they hire him with the Mets, and every baseball, and I love like Jeff Passan. I respect these baseball guys, but all these baseball guys are like, wow, new era for New York. They're finally gonna this is when they're gonna get out of it. They just need a bright baseball mind. I just love that it's another 38-year-old dude who's gonna go in there. It's gonna be analytic heavy. And maybe you need that. Maybe you don't. Who knows? I just saw it with Matt Klentak. Shocker. Where do you think David Stearns went to college?
Oh, man. He's another one?
Yeah. Harvard. Yeah, another Ivy League guy. So he went to Harvard,
This whole Bill James thing that started with the Moneyball stuff, I get that it belongs in baseball, that I get baseball's highly analytic.
Mm-hmm.
I think you should balance that with guys making the decisions that are baseball lifers.
Baseball guys.
Yes.
Yeah. Dusty Baker.
Yeah.
He's got a stacked team, but he's also a good baseball guy.
Right.
The Phillies had a stacked team last year. Joe Girardi got fired. He's a baseball guy. It's an in-between kind of thing.
Yes,
you need
to balance it out.
And here's this David Stearns guy who, whatever. I mean, it's the president of baseball operations. Not something we're going to really be focusing on, but they're going to, the Mets are back, Connor. Now that David Stearns.
Sure they are.
One more piece of news, I guess you could say. Did you see the story about the bar in Wisconsin yesterday?
No. Oh, wait. Yeah, I might have. We brought this up on the morning show, but I think we missaid where the bar was at. Go ahead and do it.
All right, so the bar's in Wisconsin. I don't know what the bar is. It's called, Jack's American Pub in Wisconsin. And they had an offer of free drinks if the Jets lost. So, of course, Aaron Rodgers, formerly of the Green Bay Packers, is now the starting quarterback of the New York Jets, and he lasted a whole 4 plays before tearing his Achilles. So Rodgers goes down, and everybody in the bar erupts into cheers.
They think they just got their tab paid.
Don't mess with the football gods or just the life karma in general. Right. You're cheering somebody getting hurt. So Rodgers goes down and the bar goes nuts. Now think about it. Free drinks that the Jets lost, not free drinks post-game. Let me make this clear. Your tab is covered. So if you run up a $300-$400 tab, God bless how you're feeling the next day. But if you run a $300 tab, you're good if the Jets lose. So they started doing it. Everybody's hammered, drinking so much because, there's no way Zach Wilson. And they were already losing, right? They're not, Zach Wilson's going to come back. So they're drinking. And the Jets come back and win. And now everybody that ran up a tab has to pay.
Immediate, instant karma.
I love that. Now, I'll be interesting because apparently I listened to the news report. Apparently, it's a season-long thing. Every time the Jets lose, the bar tab is free. Unless Packers games are on at the same time because they want, obviously, people in for the Packers games. Now that Rodgers is out, does it really matter? I think one of the caveats was in games in which he starts, so obviously that's done.
Yeah.
But shame on all those people.
I know.
And I'm glad that the Jets won yesterday because of it.
Now, I don't blame the people buying the drinks. The whole cheering and losing your mind over a guy getting injured is like you can't do that, and that's why you deserve to have a huge tab that you now have to pay and everything like that. Like that's
good.
Not the right way to handle it. Now, if I was in that bar and the cheering aside, would I have run up a tab? Yeah. I mean,
yes. No, of course I would have. Yeah.
That's no different than people betting the live line of like.
Right, because you think the game's
Bills.
over.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're gonna drink away.
But you deserve it, folks.
Dude, that must have been awful when that touchdown scored. They're probably like, oh my God, dude, my bill's $250.
I think the bartenders were back there like jumping. Well, the bartenders don't care, but the owner was somewhere like, let's go. Couldn't imagine
probably.
that.
Yeah, House won, man. It's incredible. All right.
House always wins.
So when it comes to the Eagles for Thursday night, we're kind of still reacting to the win on Sunday, even though a lot of people were feeling like it was a loss. You got a game Thursday. Quick turnaround. So the things that were good for the Eagles, defensive front was nasty, right? Darius Slay, right? It's funny because you start thinking like, man, what was actually like really good? Devontae and A.J. Brown, when they had opportunities to catch the football, were still good, right? Like A.J. Brown had a sneaky 70-yard receiving day on Sunday, even though it was like quiet. Devontae Smith had the touchdown reception.
Yeah.
That's kind of it on the stuff where you're like, this was very, and Jake Elliott.
Do you think Gainwell had to, like, I didn't expect him to be as big of a part of the offense as he was.
Neither did I, and neither did Jeff McLean when we talked to him earlier.
I thought for what I expect from Kenny Gainwell, he had a nice day.
Yeah, he had a good game. And it was weird because they kind of went away from it, and I wonder if that was the rib injury. I don't know when the rib injury was sustained. If you're just tuning in, Derek Gunn reporting that his status for Thursday is up in the air because he has a rib injury. Fletcher Cox does as well. Cox will play, but Gainwell's still up in the air. So maybe that happened early, and that's why we didn't see as much of him later
But then
on.
you didn't see any Swift, so I don't know if that's
it was strange. They went away from running the football, probably because maybe the defense changed for Belichick. But Kenny G was fine. Like, he was good. I don't want that. I don't want him to be my lead back. I don't. Like, Kenny Gainwell was not screened. Really?
Well, in a rotation, if he leads by like getting 51% of the carries and DeAndre Swift gets 49.
Okay.
And then Boston Scott gets .001. Like, I'm okay with him in a lead back in like a pretty balanced rotation if they trust him like that.
Nothing screams like, I said this yesterday. He's got good speed.
Yeah.
He's strong. He can block. He can catch. He does all those things at like a good level.
No, I got you.
But none of them's like, he doesn't pop off the page. Like I was watching last Thursday. Jahmyr Gibbs. Should have gotten the ball 100 more times.
Oh, totally.
But the second my man put the burners on, I'm like, whoa, that is elite speed.
Yeah, but dude, you're getting caught up in the trap of the NFL. I know we grew up with it, but like lead running backs don't really win as much anymore.
I know, but like DeAndre Swift in this offense, I would rather DeAndre Swift get more snaps.
But we're talking about a minimal difference. That's why it's like I don't really care. Think about the year they won the Super Bowl, and that was how long ago now? 6 years?
Mm-hmm.
Who was the lead back?
Well, Blunt technically.
Kind of, but was he the lead? Like, was he a lead back? He was the bruiser. And then you had Corey Clement, who was the pass catcher, and then you had Darren Sproles for part of the year before he got hurt. Jay Ajayi? Like, you just, rotations might be better for where you're at in today's NFL.
Well, I didn't really like the rotation then. How about that?
Fair.
How about that? I did not like the rotation week one.
Okay.
But Kenneth Gainwell played fine. So, let's say Thursday. I expect the defensive front to still be that good.
Better even.
Yeah, I don't think the Vikings offensive line. I mean, look, they probably could have been better against New England. New England started two rookie guards, but whatever. I think they'll be good Thursday. Kenneth Gainwell should have another good day if he's a heavy part of the rotation again because that Vikings defense stinks. I expect the wide receivers, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, to have good days. And then Darius Slay, that's going to be a tough task. Like, that's hard for me to say he's going to play as good as he did against the Patriots. Where it was bad to ugly or maybe just didn't reach our standards, Jalen Hurts.
He'll be better.
Let's be fair. He will be better. I agree. Linebackers, I don't know. I mean, at this point, you just hope that they don't kill you, right? Offensive line is a question. I think they'll be better.
You think? Really? Like, I don't think they had a good game at all.
So
I don't think Jordan Mailata looked good.
Well, and here's the problem. Mailata did not have a great season last year.
Right.
He did not. I know we all love Mailata, right? I love Mailata. He did not have a great season. He did, because remember, he was going like this. For the YouTube camera, I'm doing the trajectory upwards. He was going up, and then last year he kind of, I wouldn't say went down.
Plateaued, maybe?
But yeah, maybe. And then week one, he has a bad game. Now, granted, it's just week one. They didn't play in the preseason. I think Cam Jurgens looked good. You said Lane Johnson struggled a little bit. I would hope he's better. Jason Kelsey's still Jason Kelsey. He's a beast. And Landon Dickerson's a beast. I expect them to still be good.
Yeah, I look at them as like a group version of Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts had a bad game week one. I expect him to be much better because he's that quality of player. Like, it's that quality of offensive line with that quality of offensive line coach. I don't care about the short week.
Mm-hmm.
They came out healthy. Get out there, be better against a Minnesota pass rush.
Well, and that's the big thing. The pass rush isn't that good. So, like, when you look at the defensive side of the ball, Darius Slay was tremendous. It's hard to say he's going to be tremendous again against Justin Jefferson, right? Which is who he's going to probably be shadowing, especially if James Bradbury is out. Josh Jobe, let's see what he can do for 4 quarters. He made a hell of a play. That he's the reason why they won when he gets the guy out. But let's see if he can do it for 4 quarters. And then safety, that's always going to be a question mark. Blankenship played okay. That touchdown against Hunter Henry was bad coverage on his part. But, the rain wasn't helpful for anybody. He slipped a little bit on that.
He might need to have a big day because he might be calling the defense.
Yeah, he might. McLean said that he could be the one calling it, either him or Christian Ellis, now that Nakobe Dean's out for a month.
Yeah, it's just...
Defense is kind of concerning.
A little bit.
But we'll see what they end up doing. I've said it yesterday. I'll say it again. You don't have to look that far back for tape against Justin Jefferson and what you did that made it work. And they made it work last year. Now, granted, Adam Thielen was the other receiver for the Vikings, and James Bradbury was your other corner. They got a better receiver now, and Bradbury's out, probably. Nothing official, but I would imagine that he
and
is.
A better tight end now, too.
Yeah, that's a good point because he wasn't there yet. I still didn't get that trade.
No, it was very weird.
Because Hawkinson's good. The Lions were okay at that point.
And
like Laporta's not bad for the Lions, the rookie that they drafted, but like Hawkinson's good.
Yeah, I just don't see ever tight ends unless it's like Travis Kelsey or maybe like Kittle, Mark Andrews. It's like if you're going to go get one of those guys, tight ends don't put you over the top unless you get like a top 2 or 3 guy.
But that was strange. Like it was
a weird trade both sides.
I don't know why the Lions gave up, but maybe they just didn't want to pay him. 610-632-0975. We'll hear from some of the coordinators coming up later this hour. But let's go back to the phones. Talk to Uncle Frank. Uncle Frank, what's up?
Hey, happy overreactionary Tuesday, boys.
Yeah, pretty typical.
I know. Connor, I don't know if I've had the pleasure.
I'm sure
we have.
You have.
Come on, Uncle
you were
Frank.
probably drunk during it.
I'm sorry.
Couldn't hear me over the zaps.
I might have been hazing. All right, don't bring Zap up. I'm very sensitive from Friday. Listen, if anyone could summarize how good or bad a team is from the first game, then they're Nostra friggin' Damas. How would you like to be a Giants, Bills, Bengals, Vikings fan today?
Yeah, that would suck. Like if you're a Bills fan today, you're miserable because. You're like, I think everybody's already kind of walking on eggshells there when it comes to the Bills, and then you lose game 1 against the Jets team. Yes, they have a good defense, but Zach Wilson had to play basically 3/4 of a game.
Yeah, I mean, if you lowered the cone of silence, I tell you how many ducats I threw at the Bills. But there's so much. You look at this young D. There's so much. There was a play, Jalen Carter. He pulled like a Reggie White. He got momentum, hesitated, got his arm under the guy and just threw him. And then he got the quarterback just short. But, not in time. But the footwork is amazing. Jerome Brown had footwork like that. So,
yeah, look, Jalen Carter, he popped, and he still only played, I think, 40% of the snaps. So it'll be interesting to see if he gets ramped up a little bit more as the season goes on. It was good to see Jordan Davis make a play. I know the second half he struggled a little bit, but hopefully he gets into better football shape. But Jalen Carter, man, that start for him, that's going to get a lot of Eagles fans, including myself, excited.
7 pressures, I believe. And listen, Jalen looked hesitant, unsure of himself, but, that backhand of Belichick's defense, it was like a damn amoeba. I mean, I was, not that I'm a trained professional, but I found it confusing. I can't imagine, he. Yeah,
look, he had a bad game. Like Jalen Hurts did not have a good game.
Yep.
But it's the same thing as everybody else. It was week one struggles. You're going up against a good defense. You didn't play with each other in the preseason. And so I have to sit here and think, all right, he'll probably be better against this bad defense against the Vikings on Thursday, which will make everybody feel better. And then, hit the ground running the third week against Tampa.
Yep. But listen, all the squads out there, if it's week 8 or whatever, then we jump in the Nervine boat.
Right.
Otherwise, just enjoy the ride.
Hit up the haze, right, Uncle Frank?
Oh, yeah. My ankle's bad, but trust me.
Yeah, you need it. Yeah, look, it's medicine. It's good for you.
I should get a damn card. Anyway.
Just come over to Jersey.
Right,
you're fine. See you, Uncle Frank. Have a good day.
My ankle's bad, too.
Yeah, exactly. The power rankings, Tuesday power rankings. Tuesday power rankings are out. I'm on NFL.com. Toward the bottom, of course, Cardinals, Texans, Colts. Thank you. I was going to ask you for it, too, but
no, I'm on it.
I knew you could do this.
Come on, buddy.
The Bears, now ranked 29th. They dropped 3 spots. And Justin Fields showed once again that he can't play from behind.
I picked them to win the North. I'm not feeling good.
I did not pick the Lions, but I did pick the Jets to win the AFC East, and that kind of hurt me.
That's not on
yesterday. But, yeah, the Bears dropped 3 spots. And we'll see if Justin Fields can learn how to win from behind, because it's great and all when he's out in front running the football. It's great for fantasy football. But I saw too many games last year where they lost by a touchdown, and he couldn't get them downfield. Number 28, coming in previous week at 19, they dropped 9 spots, the New York Giants.
They're too high.
Why were they 19 to begin with?
They were a playoff
Why
team,
do people think Daniel Jones is talented?
No.
Why did the New York Giants put Daniel Jones in a different tax bracket? He stinks. All he does is run the football. He is not a good quarterback. This is what I go back to. Everybody's starving for a franchise quarterback, that you're going to make that boneheaded decision. And I like Brian Dable, but Mr. Football Brian Dable doesn't notice this? And I'm just this idiot here? Jeez. So the Giants at 28. Panthers 27. Rams at 26. Patriots at 25. The Bucks at 24. They moved up 4 spots. As did the Raiders, who are at 23. Titans 22. Commanders 21. Broncos 20. Pittsburgh drops 5 spots. That was a disappointing game for them.
Yeah, they're just not. I mean, the 49ers are a good football team. They really are. But
they are. But I thought,
Kenny Pickett's not an answer.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, that was look, he went up against a dominant defense.
No, I got
start
you, but
the season.
Was lost.
Yeah, it was not good. And then Deontay Johnson's going to miss some time. They announced it finally today that he's going to be out for a while because of his injury. Seahawks, no idea what happened to them against the Rams. Anyways, they dropped 5 spots from 13 to 18. Vikings at 17, Falcons 16. The Pack at 15 climbed up 6 spots. Is Jordan Love real, Connor?
He's real on my fantasy team. I don't know, man.
Okay.
I'll tell you what. They feel good about how their offseason went right now.
Yeah, of course they did. I mean, they're saying we didn't do anything drastic, and we had this kid that we drafted a while ago. Good for him. Maybe the Niners should have taken note about that with Trey Lance, but then again, Brock Purdy had a good game, so I can't complain. Saints at 14. I was doing pregame, and I had Red Zone up, and I saw just something that pisses me off during that game. They threw a corner fade to Taysom Hill in the red zone.
I remember that one.
And I'm watching this happen. And it's more of a mystery than Daniel Jones for me. That Taysom Hill is still in the NFL. That he's still in the NFL, period. That he has a job. He doesn't do one thing great. He's a good special teams guy. I know you need a special teams guy. They paid him all that money. He's another rich man for doing what? I could go out in the field and say I could do all these things. Throw me the football. When has he done something where you went, wow, That's why Taysom Hill is on the Saints. And they force it to him. And I thought it was a Sean Payton thing. No, it's continuing now post-Payton. They force the ball. They try to make it worthwhile that Taysom Hill's on the team.
I think he's an NFL player. I don't think he's an NFL feature player. I don't think he's a guy whose name should be mentioned multiple times in a broadcast.
They love him, dude. They love him. It's like the, you know what it is, in all honesty? It's the scene from the Elvis Presley movie. He's what? He's white? That's it. Because he's white and he was fast and does all these things, they love Taysom Hill. I'm sure I'm not the only one that thinks this. That's why. And it's a tragedy to the NFL because there's no way that he should get as much love as he does. Cleveland Browns coming at number 13. The Chargers at number 12. Bengals dropped 6 spots to 11. I can't do that just yet. I mean,
that's reactionary.
The weather was terrible. Like, it's not like the Browns played well either. They climbed up 5 spots to 13, but the Bengals dropped to 11. Ravens at 10. Jets at 9. Your Bills fall 5 spots to number 8.
That's deserved.
That's deserved. We'll see. We'll see what happens. The Jags coming in at number 7. Dougie P. Getting a lot of support. I mean, look, they were top 10 before the season even started per NFL.com. The Lions coming at number 6, climbing 5 spots. The Dolphins are in at 5. Then you have the Cowboys at 4. The Eagles at 3. They dropped from 2 to 3. The Chiefs at number 2, and your number 1 squad, oh boy, do they want the San Francisco 49ers to be good.
Media darlings.
My God, do they want the Niners to be good. That's your power rankings, the Tuesday power rankings so far in the NFL. 610-632-0975 is the number to climb in. We'll hear from the coordinators a little bit. Just start rolling on it, Connor, and then if they say something of note, we'll really focus on it. But I am interested to hear what Brian Johnson has to say. We'll tap into that next when we come back right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
A doubleheader split. I'm Connor Thomas. This update is brought to you by Bradford White Water Heaters. You may not always need a new water heater, but when you do, choose Bradford White. The Phillies had their doubleheader against the Braves yesterday, and they ended up splitting, taking a win and a loss, which I guess you'll take playing the best team in baseball. They lose game 1, 10-8. They win game 2, 7-5. And now they'll have a chance to take another game for the Braves in game 3 tonight, 6:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wheeler, Freed. Great pitching matchup there, and this has felt like a playoff series already with the doubleheader. A good look ahead to hopefully something we're seeing in October. The Eagles are dealing with injuries ahead of their matchup with the Vikings on Thursday night. Nakobe Dean's foot injury is going to keep him out expectedly for multiple weeks. James Bradbury's in concussion protocol right now. Not sure if he will be available. Questions now about Kenneth Gainwell's availability with some rib issues going on there. So the Birds signed former first-round linebacker Rashaan Evans to the practice squad yesterday afternoon. He could possibly be elevated to replace Dean for Thursday night. And the big injury around the NFL, Aaron Rodgers, an Achilles tear last night on Monday Night Football. His season for the New York Jets is over. This update was also brought to you by NJ Transit. The New Jersey Transit Police Department reminds you that we all need to work together to keep our transit system safe. Report suspicious activity to 888-TIPS-NJT or text REPORT to NJTPD. Keep it locked right here for all your latest news and information. I'm Connor Thomas for 97.5 The Fanatic.
It's the Cuz, Anthony Gargano. Weekdays 10 to 2 on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, it's Jen Scordo. This NFL season, get incredible offers from FanDuel in partnership with Valley Forge, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. All customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Now is the time to join FanDuel. The app is easy to use, and you can bet on everything from spreads to player props and more. So make sure you visit FanDuel.com/Scordo, my last name, and kick off the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. FanDuel is the official partner of the NFL.
21 plus and present in PA. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. NFL Sunday Ticket offer ends 9/18/23. No refunds. Terms and embargoes apply. $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket, not YouTube TV. YouTube TV base plan required to watch YouTube TV. Redemption requires a Google account and current form of payment. Commercial use excluded. Subscription renews. Cancel anytime.
Hey, it's Ricky Metallico to tell you about our friends at Schwartz Culleton. You've heard their ads and their iconic phone number for years. 1-800-JUSTICE. When you've been injured in a car accident, there is no greater resource than an experienced lawyer. The lawyers at Schwartz Culleton have well over 100 years combined experience prosecuting claims on behalf of individuals injured in car accidents. They have helped over 10,000 clients obtain the justice they deserve. The firm has become a bedrock of the Philadelphia community and the surrounding suburbs. From start to finish, they'll help you get your car repaired and ensure you have all the best doctors for your injuries. They have relationships with the top medical specialists and have a strong reputation with the insurance companies. There is no doubt you'll get justice if you call 1-800-JUSTICE. Again, that's 1-800-JUSTICE. Call 1-800-JUSTICE today.
Throughout our lives, we make plans for all kinds of big events for our children. And one of those events is where your child should go to college. So what do you do if college isn't for them? What if they're in college and it was the wrong choice? Is your son or daughter always talking sports or creating videos? CSB Media Arts Center is home to Connecticut School of Broadcasting, and it could be the perfect fit. The world of content creation starts at CSB with audio and video production, podcasting, sports broadcasting, and more. Get the skills employers need at CSB Media Arts Center in months, not years, and at a fraction of the cost of a 4-year degree. I know because I'm a graduate. Schedule a tour and learn about all of CSB's programs like filmmaking, social media marketing, and web development. CSB Media Arts Center in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Go CSB.com. CSB.com.
Hungry dogs run faster, and at Colonial Hyundai, it's one team, one goal every day to get you the most car for your money and make the process faster and easier. It's John Ashdale, the Cars Are, with the winning game plan at Colonial Hyundai. You'll always have home field advantage here at Colonial, where every day is game day. Come see the fantasy lineup on our lot with over 200 vehicles to choose from. New Palisades, Ioniqs, Santa Fe's, and Tucsons. Score one this month for as low as $199 per month. What's your excuse for not joining the team today? Think rates are too high? That's out of bounds. Colonial Hyundai has the playbook to get you approved today with rates as low as 0%. Think you won't get enough for your trade? That's a personal foul. Only at Colonial Hyundai receive the best values in the nation. I'll give you $6,500 for your trade, guaranteed, no matter the condition. Commit to Colonial Hyundai and get off the sidelines today. Shop us online 24/7 at colonialhyundai.com. Colonial Hyundai, the faster, easier, better way to buy a Hyundai.
When my daughter gets a cold, I have a secret weapon. DayQuil Kids Berry from Vicks. DayQuil Kids is specially formulated to treat kids' most bothersome cold and cough symptoms quickly. And the best part is that DayQuil Kids Berry tastes really great. Aren't you supposed to be resting? Maybe.
DayQuil Kids Berry. The kids' berrylicious daytime congestion, coughing, stuffy head, stuffy nose, just for kids. Medicine. Safe for kids 6 years plus.
O'Reilly Auto Parts' new Brake Best Select Pro brand raises the bar for the best aftermarket domestic brake pads and rotors available. For vehicle-specific friction formulations, Quiet-Tech noise-canceling shims, and stainless steel hardware, choose Brake Best Select Pro. Professional-grade brakes from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
By the time you're finished listening to this Pepsi Zero Sugar, you'll be 15 seconds closer to kickoff. Stock up now because game day is so close you can almost taste it. Football watching. Better with Pepsi.
Guys, how would you like to lose weight, have more energy, and be up for more action in the bedroom? Hi, this is Dr. Avi Donapel from Iron Mountain Men's Health. You've heard about our safe, effective, and affordable treatments for ED and low T. Now our physicians can also prescribe Ozempic, which could help you lose up to 15% of your body weight. Learn more about this winning game plan when you book your free consultation at ironmountainmenshealth.com. Iron Mountain Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health.
That ding can mean any number of things. Find out at your local Meineke and save $10 when you spend $50, $20 when you spend $150, and $50 when you spend $400. For tires, brakes, batteries, exhaust, and more, trust Meineke. Doing car care right.
Hello?
Whether you're at home or on the go, listen to 97.5 The Fanatic on Odyssey on your smartphone, Roku, LG Smart TV, Waze, and more. That's Odyssey, AUDACY. Check it out now.
Every drive starts somewhere. For First Trust Bank, our drive started in Philadelphia and continues to this day. As Philly's hometown bank for more than 85 years, we know this city's people. We understand their passions, and we work our tails off to help them reach their goals every day. Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank. First Trust Bank, the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. Member FDIC.
Hey guys, it's Andrew, inviting you and your friends to join me, Bob Cooney, and Pat Egan for the FanDuel pregame show this week before the Eagles game at Live Casino. We've joined with Philly Sports Trips, voted #1 home game tailgate in Philly by us here at the Fanatic. All you can eat and drink, top shelf booze and food. E-Rock is our DJ, Eagles great Hollis Thomas, and a Pat Egan wrestling match? And more. Fun starts at 4. Go to phillysportstrips.com and grab your spot. That's phillysportstrips.com. See you Thursday.
More of the Anthony Gargano Show now
on 97.5 The Fanatic.
122, 97.5 The Fanatic. I'm Andrew Salchunas. Got the best show ever coming your way at 2 o'clock. I was just talking to Tyrone during the break. Tyrone, Ricky, and Ray. Poor Jen. Stuck with jury duty.
That's tough.
Let me make that clear. Stuck with jury duty. All right? Just making that clear. Jen is out because of jury duty. But, yeah, that sucks. And now she was out yesterday because of it after the first Eagles game.
Dude.
It is out again today. So it's Tyrone, Ricky, and Ray doing the best show ever today. So that's coming your way at 2 o'clock. Sean Desai speaking now, but that started during the break. So we're going to wait for Brian Johnson. I do want to hear what Brian Johnson has to say coming off of his first game, calling the shots as the offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles. And it didn't go well. And that's fine. Before let's not go too crazy and say that he's no Shane Steichen. He might not be. But I'm not reaching to that conclusion after just one game. So we'll hear from Brian Johnson momentarily. Real quick, I need to tell you something, Connor.
What do you got?
So Cooper is, 18 months old now, right? So we're I've been a dad for 18 months now. And today was a holy crap, I'm a dad moment.
What happened?
So do you ever get that randomly? Can I tell you something?
My life's been very similar for the past decade, so.
Yeah. So last week I had such a weird, I was driving and I was like, oh, wow, it's crazy. I have a license. Because the majority of my life still to this day, I did not have a license. Does that make sense?
Kinda.
I've had a license for what? When you get your license, 16?
Yeah.
So I've had it for 13 years. But the previous 16 years, I did not. That makes sense. Anyways, I'm weird. You know this. There's a reason why I do this. It's because of how freaking weird I am.
I get it.
But, so today I'm, hanging out with Coop, getting him ready. My mom watches him on Tuesdays. So I'm getting everything prepared, lunch prepared, set the clothes aside, even though she knows where everything is. But I like to help as much as I can. So I make the PB&J, which I still, once in a while, crush a PB&J. You know me, I'm not really, I try to avoid the carbs as much as I can, but a PB&J late night sometimes hits the spot, if you get what I'm saying.
Totally. I've been there.
But, dude, I don't cut the crust, but I did today for Cooper. So I caught myself cutting the crust this morning and going, oh, my God, dude, I am a parent.
That was the moment for you? You've changed how many diapers and cutting the crust off?
No, but it was just another one of those things where I was like, wow, I really am a dad. I am currently cutting the crust off of a PB&J for my child. It was weird.
You know what? There's probably thousands of people out there listening right now that completely understand what you're talking about with the parental thing. I'm just not there yet.
Yeah,
I don't know. I can't put myself in that. You don't get it until you get it.
Do you ever get it doing this? I still, I've been here for 10 years, 9 years. I'm still oh my God, I get to do this for a living.
And like Fan Fest is a big event.
Yeah, it's cool.
Going and being in the press box at Phillies games is that for me. Yeah, this is more like the day-to-day. You kind of get lost in it sometimes, but I totally get what you're saying.
I'm day-to-day for 18 months now.
True.
You know what I mean? But like doing the cutting of the crust, I was like, oh my God, dude, I am a dad.
You are, dude.
Like it's
when's that dad strength going to kick in?
I've been lifting a little bit recently.
Ooh, all right.
Like
kid.
not that anybody cares. I'll see you on the basketball court Wednesday. I'll get the post moves going.
Maybe we'll see.
Oh, come on, dude.
I'm a busy guy.
We have 8 right now. I need 2 more. You said Sean Desai's done, so hopefully Brian Johnson momentarily. One other non-sports related note, dude. And I think you dealt with it not too long ago, and poor Ray dealt with it like 8 times. Tire issue yesterday, man. This freaking 76, I can't completely just blame 76 because it could also be 42. There's construction my entire way home. From Ballard-Kinwood to Sewell, New Jersey, there's construction everywhere. Even when I first get off the exit, they're doing some stuff, right? So everywhere I drive, there is construction. And I had this nail. Dude, it was huge. Like it wasn't just like a little wood screw.
Did you pull it out?
No, but so I stopped. I had to get gas. And fortunately, the gas attendant, because I was in Jersey, was like, hey, I think you have a little bit of a leak in your tire. And I got out of the car. A little bit. Like, that's the sound that it's making. I'm like, oh, my
God.
God.
A balloon letting air out.
Now, fortunately, I was at Wawa where you get the free air, right? So I'm like, okay, let me try to, like, do whatever I can to get air in this tire just to get me home. And so I drive to Target right near my house. This is dumb, right? Like you're thinking on the fly, so you're hoping what's best. And I bought Fix-A-Flat thinking that was going to do anything. Because when I lived at Temple, I mean, I was getting flat tires every single day, and Fix-A-Flat would usually help. But this was a giant nail, so that didn't work. And the flat tire guy is such a sad sight. Is he up? Oh, okay. Then I'll continue this coming up in a second. Let's go to Brian Johnson, Eagles offensive coordinator.
3 issues. I'm Connor Thomas.
That's Connor Thomas. We'll get to that in a second. Whenever you're ready. I know you fired it. It happens. We're working.
A completely different scheme than obviously we'll be facing on Thursday night.
When you had a chance to look at the tape, I guess what were your overall impressions of how calm the game went and, kind of, the overall impression on the offense there?
Yeah, I mean, it was too sloppy. From just a standpoint of, I think for me, the thing that was really most frustrating is, we had the opportunity up 16-0 with the ball in the minus territory, 3 possessions in a row, and we couldn't get much going. So, obviously we just got to continue to clean up those corrections, make those corrections, and and put ourselves in a position to go out there and have some success.
What have you focused most on trying to correct and clean up?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was, going into that game last week was all about our operation. And I thought, we operated at a really clean level in terms of getting in and out, managing the different scenarios and being able to adjust in the second half to what we needed to get done in order to move the ball a little bit. But, I think when you talk about just a 17-game season and continuing to find different ways and unique ways to get everybody involved and put guys in the best position possible so that they can go out there and perform at a high level.
EJ talked about
I guess what went into the struggles to convert?
Yeah, I mean, we played a great defense. Early on, I think we converted a 3rd and 11 early on, and then there were a couple situations where we got in some really, really long yardage situations with a couple penalties and a sack. So I think that just goes into what we talked about in terms of the cleanliness that we play with and keeping ourselves on schedule. We know we're also a big 4th down team as well. So for us, as we get to those conversion opportunities, we got to do a great job of giving ourselves good yardage situations.
Some of those 3rd down runs, especially on 3rd and long, was that more trying to catch them off guard, or was it weather? I guess what went into those?
Yeah, I mean, it's that's something that we've done here, for quite a while in terms of, without getting too specific in terms of game planning. But, I can think of a couple times, I think one of the plays that comes to mind last year is Jalen's long running in Chicago. So, you can catch guys sometimes in some unique fronts and be able to pop a run. And then, dealing with some of the weather that we were dealing with as well, definitely certainly played a factor.
EJ talked about the curveballs and coverage, a lot of different looks. Did you get a sense for that during the game?
Yeah, well, we knew that they would have, some sort of wrinkles to their system and what they were doing. Obviously it's a very, very well-coached team. They do a fantastic job. I think one of the things that they did a great job of was eliminating us from being able to make explosive plays down the field and really staying back in their coverage and making it, sort of a dink and dunk type of operation where, just trying to keep the ball in play and keep it moving forward. And it wasn't much opportunity to really get behind the defense just with the depth that they were playing.
As far as the touches, Nick had mentioned you never want to come out of a game with DeAndre getting 2 touches. Dallas didn't get a reception. You guys kind of went through that in Detroit with Devontae last year. How do you, as the coordinator, do you have to sort of have that in the back of your mind? I got to get so-and-so involved.
Yeah, for sure. And, like you said, that was something that really took place in game 1 last year, with Devontae, where he ended up without a catch, but, there were 4 or 5 times where the ball could or should have went his way. So, we have to be really, really mindful of that and get, all of our players involved. So I think that's a scenario. Dallas obviously is a fantastic player, and, we got to do a great job to try to find ways to get him the ball.
I watched Josh Allen last night get reckless and throw 3 picks. Does Jalen show maturity when he rolls out and instead of trying to force something, just throws it out of bounds?
Yeah, Jalen is a very, very smart player. I think he has great instincts. He understands the game, and he understands what it takes to win football games. And a big part of that is us as an offense doing a great job of taking care of the football and not giving the ball away. So I think that's something that has really stood the test of time in terms of the game of football, is guys that are able to possess it and score touchdowns in the red zone. It's generally a pretty good recipe for success offensively.
Especially with so many things to clean up, I guess, what's your approach to the short week with, like limited practice time?
Yeah, I mean, Nick set the schedule up in a way where we're going to get a ton of walkthrough reps, and fortunately for us, there's we got veteran guys that have played a lot of football that have been through these Thursday short weeks, and I think the goal is just to embrace it. It is what it is, and we have to go out there and be ready to perform at a high level given the short week.
You have obviously been together for a long time, know each other well, been through a lot together, but this is your first rodeo of this kind together. How is the relationship, the dynamic, the chemistry evolved? I know it's only been 1 game in the regular season, but just continue to grow together.
Yeah, I think, our communication in terms of adjustments was really, really good. I think you saw us come out in the second half and kind of put the ball in the air a little bit, and we were able to kind of get it moving and get a couple first downs going. But, I think for me and Jalen, our relationship has always remained pretty consistent.
For you personally, what are the biggest challenges on the short week? Just what makes it more difficult?
Yeah, just, obviously just the time crunch. When we got back Monday, that was essentially like a Wednesday of game week. So, there's some prep work that obviously has to go into it prior to that week. But, obviously this is something that you deal with every single year. So Nick does a great job of organizing, the structure in a way where we can get the work that we need to get.
There he is, Eagles offensive coordinator Brian Johnson. A couple takeaways. 1, he is Jalen Hurts. The answers were, except for the cliches, he was like almost from the school of Saban.
You could tell they spent a lot of time together.
Man, he did not give you anything. And like I wasn't expecting him to be like, yeah, we sucked. We got to be better next game. Rah, rah. I didn't expect that, but man, he barely gave you anything. He did say that his calling was too sloppy to start week 1, so I appreciated the honesty because it was not a good called game. He believes they made some good adjustments at halftime. Him and Hurts sat down during the break and talked about it. And they did get the ball moving a little bit. A.J. Brown started getting his receptions in the second half. I chalked that up to, like, I'll keep on going. I know it stopped raining in the second half. It was just an ugly game. Now I hope that's the truth, right? Like, I hope come Thursday when they take on the Vikings that's actually what it was. But, yeah, he said they made some good adjustments at halftime. They didn't score a touchdown in the second half, but they did move the ball a little bit better.
Yeah, it just wasn't a good day at any point. But I get what he's saying about the adjustments, right? It felt like they were targeting A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and trying to find him more in the second half. And I appreciate that. I guess I don't know what more he could have said.
Look, he was honest that the Patriots defense is very good, and Belichick threw them a lot of good looks, and it forced them to dink and dunk a lot. Even though I didn't even see much dinking and dunking, I saw a lot of Jalen Hurts scrambling and then throwing the ball away or just trying to get back to the line of scrimmage. But he did give the Patriots a lot of credit. He said that they need to clean up early downs because they had a lot of second and longs and third and longs, not just penalties. I know he mentioned penalties, but there was also a lot of just bad plays to start drives that was keeping them at 2nd and 8, 2nd and 9, 2nd and 10, 2nd and 11. One thing I always love is maybe it wasn't directed, but let's change the pace of this press conference question. The let's be overly positive question from an employee of the organization, randomly talking about how Josh Allen was erratic and Jalen Hurts isn't that. Talk about it. I always love that.
Yeah.
You get that with the basketball team in town sometimes where the person who works with the Sixers, maybe Daryl Morey fired Doc Rivers, and 4 questions in it was, but how did Joel Embiid play? Like, he played really well yesterday. And it's like, yeah, let's ignore. I just love that. I know he's a legend in town, the man that asked the question, but,
That's what it is, man. That's his job.
Yeah.
You're going to always hear it. We know what's up. But speaking of that, it's actually a good transition because I do like that Brian Johnson brought up the sloppy play calling. He's got to be better.
Yep.
Because there were some people who were concerned. I wasn't really concerned, but I brought it up definitely on postgame when Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts said right after the game got done in their availability, thought Brian Johnson did a great job, thought he had great calls, this, that, and the other thing.
He doesn't think that.
No, and they don't either. But they're not going to come out after and be like, oh, yeah, he stunk. He needs to be better. Like, they covered for the guy. He obviously knows he needs to be better. We're all on the same page here.
I don't get the outrage. Like, John was upset.
Yes.
Why?
He gets caught up in press conferences too much.
Why?
He knows it.
I don't really get it. Like, of course he's not going to. John wouldn't rip you.
I don't know. It depends what I do.
No, like, if you had a bad day at work.
You're right.
Like, let's say you screwed up 3 different clips. I don't know. Maybe we are different. But I'm just like.
No, but he
wouldn't go, man, Connor was awful today. He's not going to do that.
Exactly. So that's what I tried to bring up to be like, they're not going to throw him under the bus. They all know that they need to be better than that. So, yeah, we kind of just got what we needed to hear there, right?
Yeah. I mean, look, he realized that he had a bad day. And so he's going to try to work on it. So, all right, I'll take that. Football news.
What do we got?
Did you see who signed another contract?
No.
With your Seattle Seahawks. You didn't see this?
No.
How about left tackle Jason Peters?
How is he still standing?
Come on, dude, hang it up.
What are you?
Please.
You know what you need to do? You need to Clockwork Orange Jason Peters this weekend.
God.
You need to pin his eyelids open and make him watch this Kelsey documentary, maybe even just the trailer, where they talk about like being able to walk after playing football.
Yeah.
And just say like, dude, what are you doing? Retire. You're a Hall of Famer. What are you hanging on to?
It's funny. I was talking about it with Tyrone during the break about how, not that he's hurting his case to make the Hall of Fame. Like, he's in the Hall of Fame.
No, because to voters it won't matter. But from the fans' perspective.
Well, it's just like, it's getting to the point where you're like, oh, buddy, stop. Like, please stop doing this.
Yeah, you know what great musicians do when they get older? They just start doing tours and they play
the hits.
They play all the hits. They don't go out and start writing new music. You don't hear them releasing new albums. No, you hear them doing tours of the same songs they've been doing for 30 years that are good. He's trying to write new music, and it's making his old stuff look bad.
And the problem is he's not like playing at a high level either.
No.
Like if he was still playing at a high level, fine, but he's not. And it's a shame because like you're almost sad. Like seeing him in a Cowboys jersey last year was sad. Like I'm watching, I'm like, oh God. And I get he started his career with Buffalo, but he's an Eagle, man. Like, he was with the Eagles for 11 years.
Yeah.
11. Like I forget how long he was with.
Got
the
a ring
Eagles.
here. What didn't play?
Yeah,
in
didn't
the
play,
game,
but he got the ring. The bodyguard, like the guy, like I respect Jason Peters, but it's just like, oh man, please. And I hate the Eagles kept bringing him back.
I know.
And then remember, he was like, "I'm not a guard. I'm a," and like,
you got to pay me more if you're going to play me in a different position. Like, come on, man.
it was just. Anyways, so Jason Peters back in the NFL because the Seahawks tackle got hurt. So he's out there, and I saw the report yesterday that he was. The agent called the Seahawks saying that he was interested, and what do you know? A day later, he's signing with the Seattle Seahawks. Okay, so before we went to Brian Johnson, I was telling you about the tire. You know how on the show we love to support local businesses. I just want to give a quick shout out to Spectrum Tire and Auto LLC in Glassboro. They helped. They hooked me up with it. Well, they didn't give me a tire. They patched it up. But
still,
you got to have a trustworthy car guy,
dude, for sure. Because I had trouble with mine.
Yeah,
it can be a pain.
And Ray was dealing with it. Ray had all kinds of issues when his tires were going bad, and you need to have a trust. So I was very happy.
Well, Ray's issue is Ray. You hit one nail like a year, maybe two a year. He had like 3 in a week.
Yeah, you got to find a different way.
Is he driving through the construction sites on 95? Like, what is he doing?
Maybe he might. Yeah, maybe he's actually doing the work. For all I know.
Yeah,
there he is. What's up, Ray? Come in here. You got to find a guy. Sit down, please. Ray Dunn, ladies and gentlemen, who will be on with our afternoon show, and lost week 1 of the of fantasy football.
Relax. Don't overreact to week 1. Come on.
Well, you walked in. I had to.
Yeah, still.
But you got to find a time. How's the car going?
Oh, great.
All right.
Yeah, no, I drove intentionally that week after I got the first flat. I drove a different way each day to try and find a more optimal route, and then ended up with the second flat the same
dumb.
week.
You cleaned up all the nails the first time through.
He's calling you dumb. Just that's all he's saying.
Oh, sorry.
Really?
You can't hear me.
Really? You drive basically the same way I do, I bet.
And I don't get nails.
It's almost like you're looking for nails, he's saying.
Why would I do that? I don't make enough to be looking for nails. I don't want this to be my thing.
Well, I felt
There's so many other
I felt
things I
your
could
pain
have.
yesterday. I had a big old nail in the tire yesterday, but it got patched up.
Yeah, that's the great thing about the
I
nail.
found a trustworthy person. No, this was not a wood screw. This was a nail. This is like they're doing something on the highway with
Oh,
yeah.
Because the second one I had was like one of the smaller nails where it was just like the slow drain.
This is a big beefy nail.
The first time was like a kickstand.
Yeah, and you thought you were gonna get that tire.
I mean, I was naive. I was hoping.
Yeah, no, that might have been more than naive.
Yeah,
I remember when you tweeted out the photo. I was like, dude, you're not getting that fixed.
Oh, I was hoping maybe. I don't know who's out there. Some might be able to patch that thing up, but no, it was a new tire. The second one I was able to get patched. Second was just terrible timing. I was like,
Yes.
oh yeah, I was on a strict schedule that Friday to get up somewhere.
you had the Seinfeld.
It was the Seinfeld that night. I had dinner plans. It was great because there were 2 shows, and I didn't know which one she had tickets for. She got the late show ticket.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
that
she
works.
was smart. She knew I was going to somehow mess that one up.
What do you have in store today? You guys are coming up in 15.
We got plenty in store for you. We got EJ Smith on that 4 o'clock. We're going to get into a little bit more of the birds.
Okay.
Taking that step the next day. I know you today were, hey, you've been able to sleep on this one more time. Let's get into it one more time. Let's,
Well, I'm looking for. I'll be listening and
it.
watching on NBC Sports.
No more flat
Philadelphia.
tires this
No, seriously. All right, thank you. There he is, Ray Dunn, who had a lot of tire issues, and now he's going to go in there and beat up Connor. But
I'd
yeah,
like to see him try.
Right? I'm okay with the Eagles. Like that's the thing. What you told me? The people calling in post game on Sunday were almost better than what they were Monday.
Yeah, right? So speaking of issues with cars, it's like if you almost get hit by a car, your first thought is, thank God I didn't get hit by a car.
Yes.
And then
you
your
start
second
thinking
thought
about
is
it.
like, why the hell was that guy driving like that?
Yeah.
So the immediate reaction was very okay, you escaped, with some criticism of specific things. And I feel like with some time to think about it, you're like, wait a minute. That game shouldn't have been that close, or they shouldn't have done this or that or the other thing. Not saying I agree with that. I'm just saying that's a natural progression. So I do think it was worse Monday. I do think it was much better today, what we heard from callers.
Yeah, we spoke to a lot of people that seem to be feeling a little bit better. I haven't really wavered. Now, I will say this. I could see myself doing the pregame show Thursday and maybe getting some jitters.
Oh, for sure.
Because I'm going to start thinking about, like, once the injury report comes out and you're going, all right, it's pretty light there. Because it's light linebacker. And that was Bob and I determined, we're not going to say concerns. It was a question going into the season, even though I was more concerned. But it was a question going into the season, the linebackers and the safety tandem of Reed Blankenship and who, right? Because it's going to probably mix around a lot. But now linebackers, you're even weaker because Nakobe Dean's going to be out for a month. And I didn't even know if Nakobe Dean was going to be all that good, right? Like, I was excited for him. I didn't know what he was going to be. You know, he looked okay.
Right.
You know, he didn't look stellar before he got hurt. So
Yeah.
we'll see. I mean, I could see myself Thursday before kickoff going, boy, you know, let's go offense.
Yeah, I think the saving grace of Thursday is going to be, as we look ahead to it, and we'll have more to talk about it tomorrow and everything like that, but I think the saving grace of Thursday is going to be the Minnesota defense is just not good enough. The Eagles offense is too good to have 2 weeks where you're kind of like, what are they doing? I think it's just you have to kind of just put warm bodies on the field, and the offense will be good enough to win you that game.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that's going to, keep me above water. Like, I think the offense is fine. I know Twitter is a gross place, but right after the game ended, even though they won, like I saw people on Twitter like, "Oh man, like is Hurts? Did we jump too soon on Hurts?"
Stop it, people!
Like, you can't do that after week 1. You can't. And that's Twitter, so it's a gross place. But I'm sure a lot of people were thinking it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what's good about the defense, though, too, because I know ahead of the game Thursday night, I'm going to be worried about the depth at linebacker and everything they're doing there. But a defense kind of just has to, like a great defense, can just survive for 90% of the game. Like, yeah, you'll have games where you have good turnover games, but I see turnovers as like kind of fluky. You'll have games where you have big sack games, but those can be too if you're playing a quarterback who gets the ball out quick.
Well, yeah, look at Wentz, 9 sacks last year.
Right, exactly. And then you play Ben DiNucci, and you can't touch him because he's just running 40 yards backwards, throwing it out of bounds.
Exactly.
So, but I think the mark of like a really great defense, one that can win you games come postseason, is one that when everything's on the line, that's when they brick wall up and they stack up and they stop them. And when the Patriots were trying to put that blow that brings them back or puts them up, like they shut it down. So I feel good about that. And I just think like the ability to put the brick wall up at the end of the game is maybe the most important thing, especially when your offense is this good. And I think they showed that in week 1.
All right, 2 things before we get out of here. First, football related. There's a name that's being rumored out there for the Jets to trade for quarterback.
Marcus Mariota.
No, somebody did ask me about that. I don't see why the Eagles would do it.
No,
yet,
I mean,
but I would rather go with Zach Wilson than Case Keenum. So Keenum's the backup to the Texans. I know he had that magical run that only Nick Foles stopped.
Yeah, he scored a whole 7 points in that NFC Championship game. It's pretty sick.
But Case Keenum's name is being out there. I'd rather go Zach Wilson than Case Keenum. I'd rather go Wentz than Case Keenum. I don't know if that's going to happen. It will be interesting. Or does one of these guys come out of retirement, like a Phillip Rivers or a Matt
Andrew
Ryan?
Luck?
And
Nah, he's been gone too long.
He's done. Other thing, baseball, Phillies, they got the Braves today. Game 3 of 4 of this series. 6:40 start. Fried and Wheeler, how you feeling?
I love what Wheeler's done recently.
Yeah.
He's going to be in the NL Cy Young conversation when everything's all said and done. He's not going to win it.
No,
but he'll be like the footnote of like, oh, really good year 2. I think the offense is comparable when they're at their best. So if you have your best pitcher on the mound and he throws well, I think you got a good shot tonight.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with yesterday. You split. So
Yeah, you
hopefully
get
keep
one of
on
the
going.
last two. You get 2 and 2 in this.
Yeah, that's good, and that makes
perfectly
you feel
fine.
good about the playoffs too when you're going up in a series. Because I had somebody tweet at me saying, like, after the first game, they were like, "This shows you that you're not going to win a series against the Braves." I'm like,
No,
wow.
it's not.
And they end up winning the second game. Phil's, by the way, 1.5 lead over the Cubs, but they also have the season series, so I guess you could say 2.5 game lead. The Cardinals are the Diamondbacks 3.5 back. They're the third wild card team, and then Miami's the first team out, a 1.5 behind Arizona. So that means 5 games back of the Phillies. I feel like Phillies, Cubs, Diamondbacks.
I'd imagine, yeah.
I don't see the Marlins having some surge. I know they've won 7 of their last 10, but it's just that team's too fluky. They had the big injury to Solera the other day. The Giants. They're gonna. I love it.
They're dead.
I love it. I love it. Love it. Love
boy
it.
Kapler's gonna be
Screw you,
sitting at
Gabe
home.
Kapler. Oh, I enjoy so much of it. And it looks like the Reds, the fun season's kind of coming to an end.
They're too young. They'll be a problem in the future.
Yep, they will be. All right, Connor, it's been fun. Look, I know we've been all over the internet today, so I'm guessing it's you and me back tomorrow, and we'll find out moving forward. Best show ever coming your way next, right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.